Welcome back to another edition of Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn, a new theme Thursday. We'll get to that a little bit later on. We'll review the play-in games. There may be some unfortunate news for Texas basketball we have to discuss. We'll get into that coming up here in the first segment as well. And also, if you like them, some of that old school basketball love on the 40 acres, we got a great story for you about the basketball tournament. We'll talk about that. A lot of hoops discussion coming up first. We got Rangers and Astros, Go Stros discussion coming up in the next segment. Also, NFL News and Nuggets in the top of the 4 o'clock. We'll sort out the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes and talk about why the trade talk has gone cold. We'll get into that. Mel Kiper's latest mock draft. And, of course, spring football news, notes, and nuggets, predictions, and expectations. All of that and more. Before we do, let's introduce you to the rest of the crew. He was a second-round pick for the Montreal Expos, but a first-round pick for the Austin Radio Network. He originally committed to the University of Texas, but decided to forego the 40 acres and chase his dream in the cheese. Pimping ain't easy, but for him, it's a breeze. Mike Hardball Harge, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on, brother?
We here, man. It's a Thursday. Most people call it Thirsty Thursday, but whatever kind of day you want to enjoy it. But we are here to entertain you. Let me tell you about my man that sits across from me every single day. He hails from H-Town with the Get Down. He's a lifetime Longhorn and a proud card-carrying member of DBU. Legendary lifetime and now college football Hall of Fame Longhorn, Derek Johnson said he was the best cover corner he had ever seen. He's a former NFL DB that still has that passion for film study, but he's not a fan of white condiments. But he is a fan of you, the listeners. He is my man and yours, Rod Babers.
I appreciate that intro as always. Let's not waste any time introducing the real MVP, one of the hardest working members of the ARN family. He's got a hustler spirit, period. We don't know what he's paid, but we do know he's underpaid. Also, he's the owner of Lou, the unofficial mascot of Ball Don't Lie. And today is a very special day for Lou, and he's going to tell you about that too. Patrick Davis, what's going on, brother?
I'm doing good. It's Lou's found day today, so it's a good day for Lou.
That's what I'm talking
7
about.
years in the family.
So for those that don't know about our unofficial mascot of Ball Don't Lie, tell them what you mean when you say today was his found day.
Basically, so 7 years ago, me and my roommates were watching Kobe's last game, and one of our roommates walked down the front yard. He's like, "Hey, man, I found this dog out in the front yard," and he was super dirty and skinny and just malnourished and everything else. And we took him in, and they're like, "Well, we're gonna leave him on the patio," but I was like, "I don't want to leave him out on the patio all night," so I took him in and I gave him a bath. And then he slept on the floor of my room that night. And then I took him in the morning to go take him to the vet, see if he was chipped or anything. They're like, he doesn't have a chip in him. He's full grown, and he's got pit in him. So if you take him to the pound, they'll probably put him down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he was so nice. And I was like, well, I guess I got a dog now.
You see?
Nice.
And I've had him for 7 years now.
And he is a great dog.
He's a great dog.
Man.
I'm very lucky.
I mean, he's just grateful. I love me some Lou. So, yeah, unofficial mascot status for Ball Don't Lie. And I'm a big fan. I'm a big dog guy. So we appreciate my man Patrick bringing Lou along for the ride. He always comes in, brings us good mojo. All right, gentlemen. First of all, let's not forget the most important part of the show. Specs text line, 512-337-3776. You're the heartbeat of this thing. So you got anything to say, hit us up on the Specs text line or via the Twitterverse. Harge is at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse. Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis. I'm at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. Oh, you want to see Lou, actually, go to Patrick Davis' Twitter account at It's Patrick Davis. He's got a celebratory tweet for Lou's Found Day up there. That's really, really cool. Okay. I was going to get into NBA play-in stuff, and we'll get into that. I think we should start with Texas basketball stuff.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
That's right now.
Yep.
Seems to be a little more pertinent. It seems to be right now for Longhorn fans a source of stress for them. So the news broke, and we'll get into yesterday. Actually, we talked about the Dylan Brooks news.
Yep.
Dylan Mitchell, sorry.
Yep.
But we'll get into that, too. I don't know why I said Dylan Brooks. I was thinking about the NBA.
Yeah.
They're talking trash about LeBron.
Yeah, something like, here it is
It's
right
in the
now.
news,
That's right.
But this story actually broke earlier today, and it came from Adrian Wojnarowski. It's a Woj bomb. A Woj bomb that blew up Texas basketball fan base a little bit. So, according to Adrian Wojnarowski, he is reporting with Draft Express that California high school guard A.J. Johnson, who was projected to be a 2024 NBA draft lottery pick, has decommitted from the University of Texas and signed a deal with the, I'm sure I'm going to mispronounce this, Ilara Hawks
Sure.
in the
Whatever. I mean, whatever. It's in Australia.
yeah, whatever. Okay. Yes, he has signed a deal with them in the NBL, which is the National Basketball League in Australia. He's a 6'6" senior at Southern California Academy. He's one of the highest profile players in the NBA, but also this league apparently is also the same league where LaMelo Ball spent his 2019-2020 season on his way to becoming a top 3 pick, I believe, in the draft. So it's just an alternate route. We've seen some guys take some alternate routes to get to the NBA, and the NBA is actually giving you another one with the G League and that thing. So let's talk about the impact on Texas basketball first and foremost. I guess we can also talk about this young man as a prospect overall, but seeing as he is no longer interested in the University of Texas, I think we should start with the micro and work our way to the macro. What do we think of the latest news for Texas basketball? And it seems like all of the news lately has just been, and so I'm going to say negative news, but it hasn't been positive news.
Well, it just hadn't been to the point now. And this is something that I was talking to a friend of mine about, and I was talking to Patrick about this just a little while ago. We are now in a day and age where if you go and look at basketball as a whole, everybody's either trying to get to the NBA or they're trying to get to another team in the transfer portal. Regardless of what your status may be, you may be a starter on this particular team and you're still looking for the next deal. And you know as well as I do, Rod, a lot of this stuff too is negotiating. Yes, it's all about it's jockeying. But what this is telling me about this young man, and it's nothing negative, he didn't want to go to school, period. It's one of those types of deals. I understand it. There's some people that just don't want to play school. And you're now in a day and age, especially in basketball, if you can go overseas and make money and play against professionals, why wouldn't you do it? If that's what you truly want to do and if that's your venture. I understand it. Everybody's like, whoa, that means that Rodney's not doing his job and this. No, that does not mean that. Different strokes for different folks, and we are in a time of day now where everybody has multiple options. We talked about it yesterday with the kids that are in the transfer portal. You're looking in front of you and on the football field, and you're saying, this kid is playing really good. I don't think he's going to come off the field. This kid has done great. I don't think and they just recruited my replacement at this time who's probably more mature and more advanced, and I had 28 offers coming out of high school. Now I have other options because it doesn't look like this is the place for me. I'm not mad at nobody for that. But the thing that I always try to say is be patient during the off season because everybody wants to go and jump off a bridge and think that the sky is falling because it's the off season of basketball. If we had basketball tomorrow, then everybody should panic. But we don't have basketball tomorrow. You still have the transfer portal. You're still going to have opportunities. We already knew we were going to have a new basketball team anyway. So let's just let everything play out before everybody's like, oh, Rodney Terry, that's a terrible hire. Look at him. He can't even keep these recruits. Come on, man. You've seen the game before.
Yeah, and let's look at, too, these guys that are one-and-dones. Because A.J. Johnson was going to be a one-and-done. We can now see the fact that he doesn't even want to go to college for 1 year will tell you he was probably not going to stay here over 1 year.
So that's projected lottery pick.
Yes.
He's projected which
2024.
At the end of this season, he didn't have a great finish to his season in high school.
So that could change.
That could change. And, I mean, it's just going to be if he's able to play. He's 6'5", like 160, something like that. So he really needs to put on some weight to be able to play a little bit more and be able to keep up, but you got to be able to keep speed in that as well. He was probably going to play 10 to 15 minutes a game for Texas next year, unless Texas was not going to be good at all, in which case he could play more minutes because they're just not very good. But a young guard like that, you're normally going to play 10 to 15 minutes a game. So while it's not great, it is not the end of the world. And I think right now where Texas is kind of falling is they need to figure out Dylan Dessou, where he's going to end up. But I think there is something to be said that a lot of the players that are not thinking long term for Texas are thinking, well, you know what? I don't necessarily want to go to Texas if this is a rebuild year and we're doing a 2-year rebuild. Now, rebuilds in college basketball are not as long as they used to be, where hey, we're going to get a whole freshman class and then build up. But it's like 2 years now. So you think that Texas goes and gets Marcus Carr and Dylan Dessou and all those guys, and it takes a year for them to learn and everything, and then you add Jabari Rice and add Tyrese Hunter, and it's a 2-year kind of rebuild thing. that's, I think, where Texas kind of now what you expect when you had everybody walk away. If everybody leaves after this year because we had so many seniors, you expect it to be a little bit more of a rebuild process. But 2 years, there are guys that are graduate transfers that may not want to come here because they go, well, unless, I may not want to come to a school if they're going to be better the year after I leave. And for a one and done, I don't want to go there. And then this is not the year we're winning the Big 12 title. We're not making a run in the tournament.
Your draft stock drops too.
So he could turn it all around and pull in a bunch of great players out of the portal. The portal's still open. People can still get into it till May 11th. Right. So there's still going to be probably another 100, 150, 200 D1 good players that enter the transfer portal here in the next couple of weeks. Like they said, 20% of D1 players have entered the portal for basketball.
That's a freaky, crazy number.
Yeah.
Man.
Like, and so I none of this is over. Ronnie Terry is trying to get fit guys because he doesn't want to bring in just the best names and then put them together on a team that doesn't play together, that all wants, an equal amount of shots a game, which there's only one basketball. So he's trying to put together that team. I think we know that Reese Dixon out of USC, he just went to San Diego State. He committed over there. So that is a guy that you would have thought would have been more in the game plan because he is a sophomore and he could have been part of a team for another couple of years. But I'm not too worried. I'm not hitting the panic button yet on this Texas offseason because I think there is still plenty that can be done in this transfer portal. Ron Holland coming in is a more complete prospect, at least for year one, than A.J. Johnson was going to be. And so it's like, all right, you are going to have to rely heavily on the transfer portal. There are a number of guys in there. There will be a few more. And then you're going to be able to go take your pick to fill out your roster kind of at the end. And remember, graduate transfers, there's no time frame on the transfer portal for graduate transfers. That's why Jabari Rice was able to be added late. He was able to transfer late because a grad transfer can transfer basically whenever.
Yeah, I was also hearing, and I don't know what the NIL situation is for Texas basketball. That's something that every different program's got to figure out. The Texas One Fund's a big part of that, right? Texas wants to be the NIL capital of college sports, but they got some competition out there. I did hear that Zay said on Chad and Zay, Jeff Howe told him the number that A.J. Johnson was going to make is around $750,000. It's a big number.
That's a huge number.
Yeah.
It's a big number
for 1 year.
For one player.
Yes.
Yeah, so they just looking from an NIL perspective for one player. If you were going to say, because this is the world we're in, right? The free market of college sports. You would have had to somehow match that. I'm sure if this representative, whoever it is, you got to match that or come close to it. And there are other guys also who also are in that NIL conversation too and are weighing their options. Dylan Dessou, other guys who may decide, hey, man, if you can't offer me this much here, I'm hitting the league.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
And also,
Texas basketball is having those conversations, and $750,000 is a lot of money to just throw out there for one guy.
And let's not say 10 to 15 minutes a game probably. We're probably looking at 10 to 15 minutes.
To your point, exactly.
So that is a lot of money for 10 to 15 minutes.
And that's how you're building a roster now, right? You have to build it like NBA GMs are going to think about it. You got a certain amount of money that goes around for your NIL. And that's a big part of how you recruit and lure a lot of these guys to campus.
Yes, and why all this is happening? Texas had a great season. The iron is hot. Take advantage of the iron. And if you have that, let's go. Just like this kid, you're going to get $700,000 to go and play for 1 year in Australia? Sign me up.
Yeah, you did.
Sign me up.
It's hard to dissuade someone.
Thank you
from that because that does sound awesome. If you're a projected lottery pick, go to Australia.
Yes,
that's off 1 year. They'll pay you $250,000, and you get to go develop and play against other pros,
against grown men,
and you don't play school.
And you don't play school.
He doesn't want to play school.
Exactly.
And Patrick's right. If he's playing 10 to 15 minutes a game, definitely not worth.
Thank you.
You matching that or beating that.
Yes.
As I said, people.
Good luck to you.
People are not thinking about this from an NIL perspective. That is a realistic conversation they have to have now about every big time recruit or transfer portal acquisition or transfer portal prospect because they all come in with a number now.
Yes.
They all come with a number.
They know what the evaluation is about themselves.
They all come in and go, hey, you know what? I really want to be here. 50,000. We're good.
Right.
Yeah.
And they go, all right. I mean, that's I'm being told these are the conversations.
Yep.
So
that is. Hey, by the way, Aaron Hogan just hit me up. Sir Jabari Rice going to be in studio with B&E tomorrow morning.
Oh,
So if you want to get some more insight into
nice.
Texas basketball,
Oh, I love that.
around 9 a.m., I believe, is what Aaron said.
I love that.
So check out Jabari Rice. But yeah, I think he will be able to tell you the same thing I'm telling you, which is don't hit the panic button yet. He was a late addition to this team and became a big part of it.
Exactly.
There's a lot of pieces you can add into it. They will add a ton in. It's disappointing because I think it was less disappointing when you realized, oh, he was a one and done no matter what. So once you hit that, you went, oh, no, I thought this guy could have been really good. It's the same thing you see with Dillon Mitchell where you go, if Dillon Mitchell can come back for another year, I think he could do a lot of good things. He's probably not at this point. It looks like he's going to go to the draft. But some of these guys, they're just not – they're not the guys who are ready to play tons of minutes year one.
But, Patrick, you're using logic. You can't do that. The sky is falling, and nothing is going to be better. That's the thing that I keep trying to tell people is like, calm down.
Hey, do you want to win national championships? Experience wins national championships, not one and dones
not
anymore.
One and dones.
It's just the way that college basketball is nowadays. One and dones are not necessarily the straight path to the title as they used to be.
Hearing less than positive things about the return of Arterio Morris.
Oh no, he's gone. I mean, he's gonna. Yeah, I mean, he's gone.
He's
Yeah.
gone. Okay.
No, Arterio Morris is probably gone. I think Dillon Mitchell reading his thing where he's maintaining eligibility, it did not seem like he was leaving the door that wide open. It's unlocked. So the door's unlocked, but I feel like it's closed.
And
Is it a jar?
It's propped open.
Is it a
propped
jar?
open.
Can I keep
There
it
it
a
is.
jar?
It's a jar.
It might be slightly, very slightly ajar.
Okay, there
It
you
did
go.
not seem as if
Slightly ajar?
he
Good.
thanked everybody a lot and didn't go like, hey, maybe I'll come back. Like, that's, I think, what maybe he's taking Dillon to sue is he's trying to figure out how to phrase his statements.
I hope. Yeah, you know what? I do know that they're, they're probably trying to right now at this point with Dylan DeSue come up with a number that would, that would dissuade him from going to the NBA.
Yeah, I think
draft,
I think that's
because
part
whatever
of
that
it.
number is, I don't know what it is.
I think that's definitely part of it, and I think it's too is going to be, when the more meetings he has with NBA people, if they're saying, "Oh no, we would take you at 20," or "We would take you at 25," or "Hey, if you're around in the second round, we might take you." Those are majorly different conversations.
Yeah.
So that's a conversation when you start talking to teams later in the draft, and that would probably those conversations come a little bit later into the year as well. Of once those teams that are going to be drafting later are usually playoff teams, so they're probably not super concerned. So you may be talking to a scout like, "Oh, I'm pulling for you," but then he's like, "I told that to 17 other guys too."
Exactly. You know how the game goes. It's that time of the year. We talk about it all the time about the NFL, and this is the wacky time where all the stories come out. This is the same thing with the transfer portal in basketball. We just had a great year in sports, and we saw that the teams that got to the championship are guys that have older players. One and dones are just that. Dillon Mitchell, everybody's like, man, Dillon Mitchell's gone. Dillon Mitchell didn't play that much for Texas.
No, he did 10 to 15.
He started every game, but he didn't play that much for them. So are y'all upset? I mean, calm it down, man. It's going to happen.
No, and I mean, and you got to think of how many of you knew Jabari Rice's, and I can say I didn't really know Jabari Rice's name before this year, so it's not like I'm taking a shot, but none of us really were following Jabari Rice, and then he was a huge part of what this team did down the stretch. So like a guy like that right now is Oral Roberts, has a transfer portal. Asmus is a guy that's in the transfer portal that is really, really good, and he's somebody that Texas has reached out to.
Yep.
So, you don't know if because he's a grad transfer, if he's going to want to come to Texas or not. He may want to go to somewhere else where he feels he has a better chance to try and win a title, but maybe he wants to go to Texas because it's a great place to, blow up his game. I said this earlier when I hopped on with Chad and Zay earlier. If you want to promote for Texas, I can tell you this: you will never have more scouts in front of you than if you play for Texas, because every Big 12 team has prospects, and every scout wants to watch them in Austin.
That's fair, 'cause the Big
Where
12
else do
cities
they?
aren't
Where
great.
else do they want to go catch a game? They don't want to go to Lubbock. They don't want to go to They don't want to go to Waco.
Manhattan.
They're not going to Manhattan, Kansas.
Stillwater.
Yeah, they're not going to Iowa. They don't want to go there. They want to come to Austin to the brand new building and scout the team there. So even if they're not scouting you, they're going to see you, and you get a lot of opportunities to have big games at Texas with a lot of scouts there.
That is a great point. I totally agree with that, 100%. All right, a little bit of an NBA play-in review while we got some time here. The Raptors, I actually picked the Raptors. I thought they'd find a way to win this thing. That was not the case. They actually had a huge lead. It looked at one point like they were going to roll Chicago. That was not the case at all. A 19-point comeback, gentlemen, by the Chicago Bulls, and they get a 109-105 win over Toronto in Toronto. And the story of the game is DeAndre DeRozan.
Yep.
She is the 9-year-old daughter of DeMar DeRozan. And she
was great.
She was there. She was close to the court. I don't think she was court side necessarily, but she was right there. She was close enough. Where during the free throws for the Toronto Raptors, she would yell this high-pitched scream. Did we have a little bit of this? Now, we're not going to play the whole thing because you can't. I think we got a minute of this, so we'll just play a few seconds of it. But she would do this during almost every free throw opportunity for the Toronto Raptors. Here it is.
Particular game, if he steps the wrong way or something.
Visit to Florida State. Asked me, what did you? Patrick said I was down for whatever Coach Hamilton. Underrated passer, doing a nice job.
In terms of the total number of quality of shots.
We're good. Sorry, guys. Okay, so that was like a little montage of it. That was like that thing goes on for like a minute plus. And she did that. And by the way, it was so effective. And they talked about it during the game, talked about it after the game. Even DeMar DeRozan was surprised by the tactic. He didn't know it was going to happen, by the way. They missed, guys, 18 of 36 free throws. It was the most misses in an elimination game in the last 50 years in the NBA. All because this cute little 9-year-old girl was screaming at the top of her lungs. Now, DeMar DeRozan, if we're to believe him, because we have two cuts for DeMar DeRozan. The first one, I believe here, is him just talking about how he acknowledged it during the game. He didn't. We have this, Patrick. Okay, this is him post-game, just talking about his experience during the game when he first hears the screaming.
The elephant in the room. Did you know your daughter was good at free throw defense?
Man, no, I just seen it. She went viral. Now I haven't let it soak in yet. Everybody keeps saying, but that's her. I kept hearing something during the game. Then it was one free throw somebody missed, and I looked back and I was like, damn, that's my daughter screaming. So I was just making sure she was all right though.
Okay, so he's just like making sure she's all right, but she kept doing it the whole game. And here's the other cut of him talking about the experience of her, because I don't know whose idea this was, if we are to believe that DeMar DeRozan didn't have anything to do with it. Somebody in his family either put her up to it or this girl is she is diabolical in a brilliant sort of way because she came up with this on her own at 9 years old. Then here's DeMar DeRozan telling the story of how his daughter decided that she wanted to make the trip with him to Toronto.
My daughter called me the other day when she was getting out of school, and she was just, she just said, Dad, can I come to the Toronto game? I remember going to all the Toronto games when she was a kid, and I almost said no because she in school back home. She kept asking. She was just adamant about coming to support, and I just said, you can miss one day at school and, come to a game, and I'm glad I did. I owe her some money for sure. No, she got to go back to school. School first. Yeah.
So they will not be taking this act on the road again for the Miami game. Okay, gentlemen, here we go. So we have the conversation. It is because this is kind of a loophole. It's a gray area here. Should she have been allowed to do this? Is this just strategy?
Yeah, she was just yelling in the crowd.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yelling in the crowd.
Yeah, that's like everybody standing behind the goal and throwing there.
But distraction strategy.
Yeah, so if that is why they miss 18 free throws, that scream is one unbelievable scream. We heard it. I got a chance to listen to it. I was like, man, that is loud. That's piercing. But these guys get yelled at the entire game, man.
They do.
You're supposed to be able to block that out.
It was really loud, though. How come nobody else has really done this then?
I think people have tried to do it. It just wasn't so shrill. Like, you have to have that child's voice, and children usually lose interest.
So the people are going to put their kids up to this now.
Oh, of course. It is going to be a problem because they're going to be in the upper deck doing it like they can't hear you.
Yeah,
so you're going to compete with money, though. If you got money, it's basically money and family.
Yeah.
So people's family.
I don't know. I feel like there's enough people that some kid's going to do it, and their parents are going to be like, shut shut up. Shut your
I
mouth
probably would have
right
told
now.
my kid to shut up.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
would have told my kid to shut
judging
up.
by
Hey,
DeMar
right now,
DeRozan,
chill out.
Judging by DeMar
100%.
DeRozan, judging by his reaction, you could tell he was like, "Oh God, that's my kid."
Yeah.
Oh no.
Who was she sitting with, though? Do we know?
I don't know who
Who
she was
was
sitting
like
with.
the what Guardian was?
I mean, it makes sense that she like grew up in Toronto because that's where he used to play, and so
Yeah.
she was like, "I want to go see all of my old friends and
Yep.
do that."
Yep.
That makes sense. And then she was there, and then she was like, I bet that's something they do at the house."
It probably is.
And she's like, they're like, "Ooh, boo them because they do it," and then she was just being
They
very.
do it at the house. I had to tell her to shut up at the house. I'd be
I
like,
would
"Hey,
too.
baby girl, you gotta, you can't,
Bruh.
come on. You gotta calm that down."
I got a daughter.
Exactly.
She's 6. And I'm looking at her like, I wish you would go out there and start screaming like that.
Oh man, yeah, that is wild. Yeah, so it's going to become a thing. There are going to be
Yeah.
other people that replicate this. Why wouldn't they? If it was that effective. Also,
But was it, though? Was it that?
they missed 18 of 36
No,
free throws.
it was more that Toronto's just not a very good basketball team.
Yeah,
But
that's what I'm looking at. I'm like, I know it just happens to play into it.
It does.
It works out perfectly, and it's a great storyline. Let's go back and look at how many other free throws they missed in games, and you'll be
It
like,
was the most misses in an elimination game in over 50
I was
years.
gonna say in history,
Yeah,
probably.
it played a role.
let's say
It played
it's
a
an
role.
elimination game. But it's an elimination game by a team that record would not have allowed them in the playoffs before last year.
before last year. Yeah.
Okay, that is fair.
So
And y'all get Nick Nurse a lot sooner than what you thought you were going to get him as a Houston Rockets fan.
That is fair. Good point. It was also the first time that two 10 seeds actually ended up winning the
Yeah.
play, and they were 0-4.
Yep.
10 seeds were prior to last night. And Zach LaVine also, other than the shrill scream of DeMar DeRozan's daughter, Zach LaVine was probably the biggest
my
reason
goodness.
they won. 39.7 rebounds and 3 assists. He went off.
He did go off. And people forget that Zach LaVine was at UCLA when UCLA was actually a good basketball team. Like, I mean, they're good now. But I mean, like when they were really, really good, and everybody forgets that how athletic that dude is. He has turned himself into a monster on the basketball court.
Yeah, they were down 19 points, 66-47 in the third quarter. Then Zach LaVine went off, scored 17 points in the third, and then that closed the gap down to single digits to 9, and then had 13 in the fourth quarter. And that basically gave him the win. So he was unbelievable in that game. And then we'll get into this a little bit later on. But in the other matchup, the Oklahoma City Thunder with the win over the New Orleans Pelicans. We'll get into that. And Gilgeous Alexander was unbelievable.
Hey, can we though, if the Bulls win the game on Friday, can we just start calling Pat Bev play-in Pat?
Yeah.
I want to
that
start calling
sad
him
face
play-in
again.
Pat and just be
Yeah.
like, man, no one performed more when it mattered less than play-in Pat.
Unbelievable.
No, he likes the histrionics, if you will. He wants the theatrical. He's into that, no doubt. The drama of the NBA.
And the crying after winning the playing game.
Yeah, exactly. He loves it. And the NBA always give us some salacious story. And here we got a daughter involved, which is really, really great too. So NBA is the gift that keeps on giving. We come back, we'll get into the Rangers. They lose, Astros win, go Stros. So we'll talk some Major League Baseball on the other side. Right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Austin is a beautiful city, thanks in no small part to our good friends over at Iron Workers Local Union 482. They've been helping shape this great city. They've been helping shape this great city since 1935, and as the city continues to grow and thrive, so does Iron Workers Local Union 482. They don't go to the office, they build it. You see the labors of their love all over this great city and iconic landmarks like DKR Stadium and the Pennybacker Bridge. And right now, my friends over at Iron Workers Local Union 482 are hiring for over 3,000 different jobs, folks. So you can go reach out to them at ironworkers482.org, and you can be one of these lucky people and become a member of the Iron Workers Local 482 and take pride in the type of teamwork and craftsmanship that helps shape the future of this great city. So maximize your potential and be your best self today by applying at ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org. 512-337-3776. That's the number to the Specs text line, which is silent just for a while because it's a new theme Thursday, and my man Patrick plays songs that give us hints and clues as to what the new theme of New Theme Thursday is. All right, Patrick Hart said I already got it. Hart, so what is it?
It's the blues of basketball in the transfer portal.
It is not that.
Oh, man.
That was good.
It was good, but it's
That
not that.
was good.
Because
That
it's
was
kind of a
pretty good.
bluey
That
sound
was
to it.
nice.
It's
That
got
was-
the blues to
It's
it.
very specific.
I mean,
too.
it is Bobby Blue Bland.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that. All right.
See?
So that's not it.
That
then.
is not it, no.
All right. So the new theme Thursday continues. We'll get another clue as to what the new theme of the day is going to be. But right now, let's get to some Major League Baseball discussion. We'll talk Astros and also talk Rangers here. Astros with a win, and honestly, those have been hard to come by. Truth be told, to start the season. I'm just gonna be real as an Astros fan. They have been right now. The Astros 6-7. They got a 7-0 win over the Pirates at Philly. And you know what? And this is crazy because last year, and I saw these numbers, and I was a little bit surprised to see them because a lot of Astros fans are frustrated with the start. They were 6-7 last year too
Yes.
to start the season.
Again, it's baseball.
They were 6-7 starting the season last year. Obviously, very long season to go. And last year, look at runs scored. They had 44 at this point in the season. They have 66 now. The runs allowed last year, they were at 52. Now they're at 53. So really close to being the same. Their team batting average was 200 in 2022 through 13 games, and now it's 256. And the team home runs were both at 14. So if you are starting to freak out, don't freak out.
Relax.
They
Let
got a long
everything
season.
just go.
Yeah.
It's gonna play itself out. Just take it easy, my people, because this is baseball. We all know that you play the game, and it's gonna be a lot of ebbs and flows through it. You're playing 162 games a year. There's gonna be a slow start, and there's gonna be a great finish. And if they finish somewhere in between, it's okay because the Astros are just that. They play good baseball. And for me, it's, again, look at the injuries that they're going through. They're still trying to piece some people in and find out what's next for them. So for me, it's okay, man. It's
You ain't
okay.
worried about it at all.
No.
If you're diving deeper into the numbers, because you're right, you'll get, the Jose Altuve, of course, you'll get him back. Michael Brantley's going to return from that hip injury at 1.2. But you have a lot of guys just underperforming at this point. Jeremy Pena, who started relatively hot, has cooled considerably. He's batting 208 now. Alex Bregman has just not found his groove at all season long. He's still cursed from Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, there you go.
It's his like,
And he grew a mullet too,
it's his
so his
salsa
hair's kind of curly
that's
out
his
the
salsa
back.
company going
Yeah,
on. You
yeah.
know how that is.
Yeah.
You have a lot of guys that's just they're not playing really well right now.
Yep.
And so I think that'll turn around as well.
Yeah, it's just something else. I mean, you look at Kyle Tucker. Jordan hadn't been hitting home runs like he normally would, so that still is playing a part into it. You're still having different guys playing in a lineup to try to figure out who's who and what's what. It's not something that you really need to be worried about because here's the deal: the Los Angeles Angels, remember them? They were a team that would always jump out early, and they would fade fast. You know that they're 7-5. The Astros are 6-7. They're still right there to win the West. The Rangers 7-5, 6-7. It's okay. All you got to do is just play enough to be in your division, to get to the playoffs, and then you can make a lot of noise. So no, I'm not overreacting to any of this, man. I mean, we've seen it. We've seen like right now. We can probably talk about the Rays. They're 13-0. This is an unbelievable start for them.
It is crazy.
It is unbelievable. They cannot sustain that.
Yeah. Do you think they're gonna be good though?
Yeah,
Really good?
remember, they're always good. They're pretty good every single year. And now they're going to probably try to be a push by the MLB is like, we need to save Tropicana. We need to keep this team in Tampa. Because remember, everybody was talking about them playing half their games here and half of their games in Montreal.
Yeah.
They were talking all that stuff because there's no fans that go to the game. Now they're playing really good baseball at the very beginning of the year. A lot of fans are going to the game. It's just what it is, man. But this is an unbelievable start by them. numbers and what's going on with them. But again, they're not going 162-0.
No, I agree with you. It will be fun to see how long. What's the streak to start a season undefeated?
I think this is it, 13, because they won today.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
13.
crazy.
Yeah.
Prior to their game today, because this is a stat that's prior to this most recent game, the Rays had trailed at the end of just 5 of 108 innings this season. They're the third team all-time to trail at the end of 5 of fewer of their first 108 innings of a season, joining the 1884 Gothams and 1884 Maroons.
Yeah, this is they are at a place right now where they've tied the modern MLB record for the best start in the season.
Okay.
At the very beginning.
Figured they must have been close to it.
Yeah, they're definitely there. And here's the thing, going back to what we were talking about. They beat them 9-3 today, beat the Boston Red Sox in front of a crowd of 21,000. They don't normally get those numbers. So it's a buzz going on in Tampa. Everybody's going out there. And I do remember that the Atlanta Braves in 1982, they were a team that started 13-0 as well. And everybody, the Braves, they finna win it. They finna win it. They didn't win it. They didn't win it that year. So it's just one of those things where you continue to watch and continue to look at these players and enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Enjoy the ride. It's been fun to watch them play because I've been following them anyway because they have a lot of young players that are so much fun and change the way that they play the game. It's been real fun to watch them play.
Yeah, it's good for Major League Baseball too.
Yep.
And with a lot of discussion about the new rules and runs being up, batting average up, hits being up, and the offense is up as well. And of course, we know the average duration of a game that is down. All those are really good things. And you got a team that's setting the record to start a season undefeated.
It's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Also pretty cool, the Rangers playing well. They're 75 now. They did take a loss to the Royals, 10-1. So that was kind of an ugly loss. They gave up 13 hits in that game too. They're gonna go to H-Town this weekend to face the Astros. Go Astros! Martin Perez is gonna be on the mound.
Martin
versus Luis Garcia. That's gonna be a fun series. We'll see if that can wake up the Astros.
Yeah.
Maybe they need the rivalry to wake them up a little bit.
Yeah, you definitely need the rivalry, but this ain't your same Astros. I mean, your same Rangers
It ain't.
that you're used to seeing. You're going to be missing Corey Seager. He's still going to be out for a while, but everybody else, there's some bangers in that crew, and they know what it's all about as well.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that too. So I'm hoping that the Astros will wake up, and it might motivate the Rangers. I mean, for the Rangers, this is for you. This is why you made a lot of those off-season moves.
Exactly. This is who you've been chasing and looking up to.
Yeah, this
That's
is a
right.
measuring stick right here. If you go out there and show up against the Astros in H-Town, maybe the Rangers are for real.
No doubt.
All right, we'll come back. We got the flex on the other side. Also, we'll figure out if we can get into this new theme. I'll see if my man Harge can figure out what the new theme of New Theme Thursday is going to be. Right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a new theme Thursday. That's when Patrick plays jams that are supposed to give Harge and I clues that lead us to the new theme of the day. And I don't think either one of us have it right now.
What's the name of this song?
Harge got something.
Well, if I tell you the name, you'll get the thing.
Oh, aha.
Hey, that boy good. He know not to tell us because I would have got the answer.
So there you go. I don't even remember the names of the first song, so I wouldn't even be able to keep up with all those hints and clues. Have you ever did a
I've done a lot of things, right?
I know, yes. I know you have done a lot of those things, yes. You know what? Yeah, we can table that discussion because I don't want to lead us down some dark path. All right, new theme Thursday. Usually at the top of the 4 o'clock, we get a softball. That's when Patrick basically takes pity on us and
Appreciate
gives us
that.
a really, really easy hint and clue. If not, then we'll just force Patrick to reveal what the new theme of the day is.
We've
Open
been
the specs,
slacking,
tucks on,
man.
back
We've
it
been
up.
off a little bit.
We've been off a little bit. Yeah, yesterday it took me forever to get to the midweek movie, which was American Psycho. Not Harge's fault because he never saw it.
Never saw it.
So I definitely should have been able to get that. But if you want to get on over to the Flex, FLXATX.com, FLXATX on all your social media platforms. Matter of fact, yesterday, great show from the Flex guys, the Wednesday Night Flex. They had Keaton Kubeka on, who is the wide receiver prospect out of Westlake, who is headed to Kansas. Got a chance to talk to him, Harge, before. The way he talks about, or the way his eyes light up when he talks about Lance Leipold and that Kansas program, he's excited.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's easy to see why. They probably were the surprise team of college football last year.
Yeah.
Until
Jaden
Daniels
Daniels
got
got hurt. Yep.
Yeah, they probably were the surprise team. And he was the Heisman front runner at one point.
Yeah, you and I kept looking at each other when we were out, and we were like, man, this dude is balling.
Man, he was.
I'm like, he was getting after it.
He
Every
was.
game that he was playing in, I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, so that momentum is why they can sign guys out of Austin like Keaton Kubeka, and he had other offers, but he's really excited about going to Kansas. They also had Coach Zimmerman on from Drippin' Springs.
Drippin' Springs.
Also the athletic director out there. He was talking about that athletic program, but also talking about the football program a little bit. So you can go catch those Flex replays. Go check out FLXATX.com, FLXATX on all of your social media platforms. Also on the website, you got the UIL Soccer State Tournament information.
And just so everyone knows, Georgetown, who is representing the locals, ended up losing the game to Frisco. I believe the score was 1-0. And Grapevine advances to the 5A Girls Championship that will be played on Saturday and in Georgetown. So other teams that will be playing tonight, Pflugerville Conley, we will play Frisco Lone Star. The boys will be playing at 7:30. And then tomorrow you got Round Rock Westwood playing at noon against Louisville Marcus. And Dripping Springs boys will take on Allen tomorrow night at 7:30.
Also on the website, you can go check out the state 7-on-7, the Austin area 7-on-7 state qualifying tournament dates. They got those up there for you too, in case you want to be in the know about what's going on with the 7-on-7. So tons of great content over there for you at FLXATX.com.
And Nico Hamilton, Kinfolk, got an offer yesterday.
Come on now.
Got his first official offer from Howard University.
I like that.
I told him, he called me and let me know. He said, I wanted you to hear it first before we put it on social.
Come on.
And I said, good job. And I said, that's the first of many, because now that you got one, it's about to take off.
Oh, you got to start stockpiling.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's about to stockpile.
Once you get one, and it is one of those things where I remember talking to the young prospect out of Round Rock, Jalen Gilbert, about that too, because I think he was under recruited, I should say,
he was.
as a junior, and wasn't getting a ton of offers. I had watched enough film on him and went, man, they just haven't caught up yet. Right. They will. That's their job, so they'll catch up. And yeah, after a while, ended up getting multiple offers and actually committed to Washington State. Then ended up decommitting to them and committing to Vanderbilt, I think, in the end. Yeah. I ended up going to Vanderbilt. So it happens like that. Sometimes I didn't get my first offer until my senior year too. Right. Different era of football, obviously, but some guys, just doesn't really roll out that way. And oftentimes it's scouts talking to each other about players. So I think Kinfolk will be
slip
all right.
up. They slip up and be like, oh, yeah, man, that kid over there. Oh, really? Let me call him now. Let me call him now.
Well,
Let me put him on my list.
Congrats on the first, but it won't be the last.
Thank you,
guarantee
brother.
on that. All right, we come back. We'll get into some NFL news, notes, and nuggets. We got to sort out this Aaron Rodgers situation because the trade talks, a conversation has gone cold. Adam Schefter goes into some details about it, but also we'll dive into every little element of it and a surprise factor in the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes that I did not anticipate. We'll get into that. Also, Mel Kiper's latest mock draft. So we'll dive into what he has the Texans and the Cowboys doing in his latest mock draft, just a couple of weeks from the NFL draft. And also the Pro Football Focused draft analysis over the last 5 years should make Cowboys fans feel really good about what the Cowboys are going to do. Whatever they're going to do in the upcoming NFL draft, I'll explain that too. All of that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie. New theme Thursday, and we both should be ashamed of ourselves. It is Lou's Found Day,
That's right.
and Lou is the unofficial mascot of Ball Don't Lie.
Hound dog.
The unofficial mascot of Ball Don't Lie. Also, he is the dog and pet of my man Patrick. And today is his Found Day, and I imagine that is the theme.
Yes.
So all
Yes.
dog-related jams. We should have done. We started off the show giving love to Lou.
Lou, and then
I thought I should have
totally
played
forgot about
Atomic
it.
Dog. I would have known right away.
So the first song was "I Wouldn't Treat a Dog the Way You Treated Me,"
Okay.
and the second song is called "Hair of the Dog."
Oh,
okay.
man.
I got it.
We should have gotten that. Dang it.
Yeah.
I'm upset with us, Horace.
We
it
got
was
caught
staring
slipping,
us
dog.
right in the face the whole time.
And it said it didn't want to talk to us.
Yeah, and the rest are a lot easier. The rest are, you're like, yeah, they're kind of all dead giveaways to this
All
point.
right. So I imagine, yeah, you definitely got it. Is Atomic Dog in there? It's got to be.
Yeah, of course it is.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about the most famous dog,
The dog catcher.
related
That's right.
songs are songs with dog in
Or
the
some
title.
Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg's got to be
Yeah.
in there. Yeah, Snoop Dogg. Yeah, got to be in there. All right, there you go. All right, new theme of the day, showing love to Lou. This is his Found Day. So shout out to all the dogs out there. I got a dog. I got a couple of dogs at the crib.
There you
You
go.
got a dog at the
I got
house
a dog
too.
at the crib, too.
You got a cat?
What?
Whoa,
No, sir.
Why'd you say it like that?
No, sir. No,
Why'd you
sir.
say it like never a cat?
Never a cat. Even though they're self-sufficient, never a cat, bro.
No, listen, I'm not a cat hater because I know people who have cats, and cats are they're kind of cool. I don't own a cat. We had a neighbor that had a cat, and the cat would chill out in our backyard and kick it, so we kind of owned a cat. Then that neighbor moved, so we lost the cat. But because of that, they broke up, and the dude took the cat.
Yep.
The cat belonged to the dude,
No doubt.
and she had the dog. All right, it's kind of a little strange.
Yeah.
things. Either way, I used to be kind of
That's
like
how life goes sometimes. That's how baseball goes sometimes.
I used to be like that about cats, but then my wife, who's a country girl from the country, they love cats because
Right.
cats just kill varmints, for
Yep,
them.
yep.
Kills rodents and stuff like that. So all country people have a cat around all the time. They have dogs too. They keep a cat
No doubt.
because cats love to kill rodents. So they actually serve a purpose more so
Yeah.
than some of the city cats.
No, I'm cool.
You cool?
Yeah.
All right.
My neighbor across the street, he got a cat. And every day I see my man looking for that doggone cat. One morning he comes out, I'm like, let me guess. Cat got away again, right? He's like, yeah, I don't even know where it is.
Hey.
I'm just walking through the neighborhood looking for my cat. And
That-
it was hiding on the side of the house.
That's the coolest thing about cats, though. They choose you.
Yeah, that is true.
If the
That
cat
is
don't like
true.
you, a cat will choose to go elsewhere.
That is true.
And find a new owner. Or, you know what? I'm on my damn own. I don't
Exactly.
need you.
I'm a wanderer.
That's why I don't
What you talk? Well, who'd you say the other day? Heathcliff.
Heathcliff. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But cats don't like me. I actually don't mind cats. Cats don't like me. I've tried to house sit and take care of a cat before.
Hide
Cat-
the whole time from you, right?
No, it tried to attack me
Oh,
when I
man.
came in the house. It was like on top of the fridge.
It smelt that dog.
It's going for you.
Oh man, I came in there and it like leaped at me and tried to come at me. Oh dude, I couldn't feed the cat. I told him, man, the cat's attacking me. He was like, oh, it does that, and I was like, it does that.
You didn't put that on the notes
defending
before?
That's
territory.
information I needed.
Yeah, why didn't you tell me that
Necessary
before
information.
I got
No.
here?
No, it is. And you
Yeah.
know what? I won't even throw him under the bus. It was a dude that I played with. I'm not even gonna throw him under the bus.
Throw him.
I'm not gonna throw him.
You
I
got
said-
a trained attack cat?
It was that cat attacked me. I don't know if it attacked. He said it doesn't attack everybody, but every now and then, if somebody and I had never met the cat or anything like that. That probably was a mistake. And I just came into the crib to feed him and you know give him fresh water or whatever. And no, the cat wasn't having it.
Not
The cat was like,
having it,
I don't
no.
know you, and you might be you're an intruder. Cat didn't
No,
trust me.
I have some cats that I go and feed when they're out of town, and the cat. First of all, it's funny because he doesn't like have a voice box really, so his meows are just like he just kind of breathy
hurt.
meows.
Yeah.
So it's funny,
Sound painful?
But he comes in and he will headbutt your shins to try, like as soon as you walk in, and you can't walk. Like you have to walk really carefully when you walk in the house. 'Cause he's like, no one's been here for a day and a half. I'm so hungry. And you
got,
just
like-
run in. You're like, dude, if you let me in the house, I can feed you.
Hey, I'll take that over the attacking cat.
Yeah.
The cat that's going.
No, it's all love from this one. It's just
No.
aggressive love.
Like aggressive love, no doubt about it. But that's all right. Ain't nothing wrong with that. If you got a cat too, hey, we'll show you some love. Even though dogs are the new theme on New Theme Thursday. All right, let's get to this Aaron Rodgers story because there are several different chapters to it now. And basically the trade talks have pretty much gone cold. Here's some Adam Schefter sound. He was on NFL Live, and on NFL Live, he's the one that threw out the report that the Aaron Rodgers trade talks have stalled, and he gives you a couple of details as to why.
All right, so not a whole lot there, but also maybe something. Adam, what is the latest between the Packers and the Jets when it comes to this Aaron Rodgers trade?
Laura, you hit on the key phrase right there, not a whole lot there. And my understanding is there hasn't been a whole lot of conversation, if any, over the last couple of weeks, going back to the owners' meetings. And so both sides now appear to be dug in, and we'll see whether or not anything changes as we head up to the draft. What's interesting is if the two sides, amazingly enough, can't figure out a deal by the time the draft comes, then the Jets go ahead and make their picks at 13, 42, and 43, I think are the numbers. And Aaron Rodgers then has a decision to make about whether or not to show up for the mandatory minicamp in May. Do the Packers want him there when he's scheduled to count about $60 million? Do you want to risk him showing up and getting hurt? Or do the two sides want to come together and get something done before the draft so Green Bay can go ahead and use the picks now for a player that doesn't figure to be a part of their future? Again, it seems like both sides are dug in and are willing to be patient until something gets done because nothing is any closer at this point in time.
All right. So basically, they're both dug in, been really stubborn on this thing. We may not get any movement until after the draft or around the draft. Now, Mike Greenberg, ESPN Greeny, he's really plugged in with the Jets. Jets, Jets,
His
Jets.
squad.
That's
He's squad. He's
That's
dialed
his squad.
into him.
He talks Jets more than anybody else.
Exactly.
Nobody else cares that much about the Jets until now.
Even
anyway.
the people in New York don't talk
Exactly.
Jets.
He's talking about, man, talk about the Giants. No, he was talking about the
Exactly.
Jets. So he has a lot of sources with the Jets. He was on the Pat McAfee show, and he was talking to Pat McAfee and A.J. Hawk, and here is how that conversation went down, and he revealed some interesting information from his sources.
And when's it going to happen?
I have no idea. I've always assumed that it's going to happen sometime around the draft, right? Isn't that what you think, Greeny?
Yes. Here's and AJ, obviously, I would defer to anything you know, but I can tell you what I've heard. I've heard that Aaron has sent signals to the Jets that there's no reason for them to rush, that he's not coming until May anyway. So they're not missing out on anything right now. So they should hold out as long as it takes, and that ultimately they won't wind up having to trade the 13th pick in the draft, which is what I think this ultimately comes down to. Again, if I'm saying something, AJ, that you think is totally wrong, let me know.
AJ?
But I think that this is all about
Tony?
the Jets wanting to draft an offensive tackle at 13 and Aaron Rodgers wanting them to draft an offensive tackle at 13, which I would want too if I was Aaron Rodgers. And they will just hold out until the draft, and they think the Packers will eventually say, okay, we'll take slightly less than we want because we want pieces to put around or in front of Jordan Love this year, not wait until next year. Another interesting question that will come up, if I may, is I got a bunch of Jet fans telling me that they think that rather than taking an offensive lineman at that point, that the Jets should draft Jackson Smith-Njigba, the spectacular wide receiver coming out of Ohio State, who basically had a washout of a year this past year because he was hurt all year, but that if you put him and Garrett Wilson on the field with Aaron Rodgers and Allen Lazard, that you might actually have the best receiving core in the entire National Football League by halfway through the season.
And Breece Hall, too. I mean, let's not.
Breece Hall in the backfield, obviously, Michael Carter. They would have unbelievable weapons. They have Uzama and Tyler Conklin.
Wow.
But as far as the receiving core, if we think that the Jamar Chase and T. Higgins is the best 1-2 punch at receiver in the NFL, that this could be recreating that putting Garrett Wilson and Jackson Smith-Njigba out there with Allen Lazard, that would be the way to go. I'm still one who thinks they should take an offensive lineman, but that is kind of an attractive little proposition to me.
All right, there you go. Man.
There's a lot to unpack through all of that.
But basically, it does explain why there hasn't been movement. Aaron Rodgers telling the Jets, no, you're good. Don't, you know what I mean? Basically telling them, no, you should be steadfast, all right, in your stance, that you want whatever it is that you only want to give up a certain amount of draft capital, and obviously not really high draft capital to acquire Aaron Rodgers, and by doing that, you'll leave more obviously draft capital so that you could build around Aaron Rodgers once you acquire him. So Aaron Rodgers is telling them, based on the Greeny report, hey, take your time. Don't rush it. Take your time. And you'll gain more leverage by the more you take your time, because at one point the Packers are going to start mini camps, and it's going to get real awkward real fast.
But
because he's not showing up to mini camps, but at the same time, you're still going to be on the hook for paying a $50 million quarterback who ain't even showing up.
Well, the thing about it is he never shows up.
He never shows up.
He never shows up, but yet he's going to be upset because there's no chemistry with his wide receivers in him. He's going to throw him under the bus, as he always does, because he thinks everybody knows where to be. Aaron Rodgers has removed himself from the realization of what football truly is anymore, and that is getting to know your teammates. That is why this entire farce of a trade has been just that. Every time I hear Aaron Rodgers' name, it's almost like I'm hearing DeMar DeRozan's daughter scream at the free throw line. I just can't. Aaron Rodgers just drives me to the point where I don't even care for this guy, because it's always me, 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 me. We see it year in and year out, and I do agree. Don't rush it, because he wasn't going to show up for your mini camp anyway, no matter which team he was on, because he wasn't going to do it. That's just not what he wants to do anymore. He feels like he's beyond mini camp. We talked about this the other day. First person in mini camp last week, Russell Wilson. You know why? He's got a new coach. He's got a new system. He shows up for it. You know what Aaron Rodgers would have told him? Hey, just go ahead and send me the playbook. I'll look through it. He wouldn't have even been there to go through things with them. So this is where we are with Aaron Rodgers, and that's why I believe Greeny has kind of lost his mind and was like, you know what? I'm not even going to show up every single day and worry myself about it. If they're not worried about it, I'm not going to worry about it.
I think it'll happen.
No doubt.
But I think the Jets are holding out for more leverage, because they know sooner or later the Packers are going to be their hand will be forced, especially if you wait until the off-season activities start, the mini camps and stuff like that.
You can say their hand's going to be forced. You know whose hand gets forced? The Jets, when every other quarterback is taken.
Mm-hmm.
That's whose hand is forced. The Packers can pay him and sit him on the bench. They ain't winning. They're basically getting nothing for him and giving him up, and they want to pay part of they want him to pay part of their salary. So they're saying, like, we're getting the bad end of the stick no matter what. What, you know who you need? A quarterback.
Yeah,
because you put all this together, and we talk, look at all these weapons. There's Zach Wilson. Go have fun. You tell me you have leverage? You have zero leverage, because you need a quarterback, and unless you're going to try and go get Lamar Jackson, or unless you're going to call it the Patriots in your division and give them a super package for Mac Jones.
Who?
But the problem is,
who else are you going to get?
The problem is neither side has leverage, because nobody else is in the discussion.
I agree.
The Jets don't have another quarterback that they're considering. They got all their eggs in one basket. All right, they're going all in on Aaron Rodgers, all or nothing. And the Jets, they really don't have any competition either.
Nope.
Because there's no other teams trying to trade.
No.
For Aaron Rodgers. So if you're the Packers, you need another team to get into the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes to help you get a little bit of leverage.
That's what they should be doing.
And it feels like
and on the other side of that, you also need, you need another team involved, but you also need another quarterback involved if you're the Jets, so that you can gain a little bit more leverage there and say, well, we're not going to be held hostage by Aaron Rodgers. We can go another direction. Right now, they cannot.
And I'll tell you, that seems somewhat more like that San Francisco story that came out a week or so ago about the 49ers possibly being another suitor for Aaron Rodgers. That seems like that kind of might have been.
Yeah, just throw that out there.
Throw that out from Jets people. Be like, oh, the 49ers wanted to, from Packers people to be like, oh, the 49ers, they also want him. So you better make that deal for him, because we may trade him somewhere else. Like, you ain't trading with the 49ers.
Yeah, the problem with the 49ers is that they don't have draft capital this year. What they would do is package like 3 third-round picks and a first-round pick from next year. I guess they could do that. But then they basically would mortgage in their future in quarterback picks unless they're going to trade Trey Lance and then get some type of return on that investment, and they invested with multiple first-round picks in Trey Lance.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to give you multiple first-round picks for young Trey Lance right now.
Especially coming off of an injury, too.
I will tell you,
Exactly.
I will tell you, there is one team who may give you some picks for Trey Lance, and that's going to be Houston around week 3 when they realize they don't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
Oh,
Davis
don't
Mills, dog.
remind me.
But here's the other thing. You start talking about the Jets. You have Zach Wilson, Tim Boyle, and Chris Streveler, the guy that came in who looks like a bodybuilder that came in to play quarterback. Looked like a right-handed Tebow, to be quite honest with you. So you're sitting there looking at your squad and you're saying, okay, Garrett Wilson is sitting there. Alan Lazard. They got Denzel Mims. Don't forget about him, too. And Markel Hardman. Like, you've got weapons that are there. You got nobody to throw him the ball. So you're right back in the same spot that you were when you drafted Zach Wilson. So do you make a move and go out there and say, you know what? I'm not going to go at Aaron Rodgers. One of these quarterbacks that might drop to me, I might as well go get one of those guys.
That would be risky just because you're not going to be able to get one of the top-notch quarterbacks in this draft.
You're going to go on
you're
a project.
Settle for
Another
you're
project.
settle for the 4th or 5th best prospect, and that means everybody's job is on the line because you already admitted to a quarterback mistake in Zach Wilson, and now you're going to go out there and roll
Do
the
it
dice for
again.
another one. That's why this Aaron Rodgers thing has to work because there's a lot of job security wrapped up in it because they all admit it now. They screwed up the Zach Wilson pick.
Absolutely.
You messed it up.
Yep.
And I don't know if they've moved on officially from it, but at this point, I think we all know
They ain't move on. they did not move on.
Well, they're going to have to.
That needs to be part of the trade package.
It could be. It could be. Okay, so there's another clip, though, from we have this from Barstool, and this is the left tackle for the Packers. Strangely enough, the way he's talking in this clip, too, makes it sound like he doesn't want to be a part of the organization anymore either. This is David Bakhtiari.
It's his best friend, by the way.
Aaron
Rodgers'
one
best
of his,
friend.
One of his BFFs.
Yeah.
And so he's in the know. He's plugged in. And listen to what he says could be kind of the doomsday scenario for the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes if they can't trade Aaron Rodgers to the Jets and Aaron Rodgers doesn't necessarily want to play for the Packers.
The Packers are rebuilding, whether you think so or not. They don't could they be good? I don't know. Could they be bad? Probably if you're betting, more people are going to think they're going to be bad than good. Right? Isn't that fair to say? So then they'll be like, well, we're going to suck anyways. We want what we want, and we're not going to bend anyone, so we'll just eat it.
Fair.
Sell and retire, we'll pay you. We don't care because we're going to – if we're going to do it our way, it's going to be on our terms. If not, were we going to be Super Bowl contenders anyway? So we'll eat it. You can hang on the side, pay you your money, and then we'll suck anyways, get the picks. As compared to dealing him for something that you shouldn't have, you could potentially look like an idiot to not only the president and the board, but everyone else around the league, thinking from the GM's perspective. Put yourself on the hot seat. And then potentially have your job come called to question. So I look at all these like ways you can deal it. I don't think it'd get that contentious. I do think they'll probably come to an agreement. He'll get traded. They'll get what they want, and then time will probably say whether it was who won what. But I'm saying I do think that it could be a third option if things got so
You're
bad.
right. You're right. I've
Jets
changed
just
my
say,
mind.
No, we want this, and that's it because we know we're gonna get them. Like, okay, well then
somewhere else.
All right, there you go. So he's saying the worst case scenario would be the Packers decide we don't like the trade offer from the Jets. You know what? We're going to tank. We're in tank mode. Best way to tank is to pay for a $50 million a year quarterback.
Right.
Start the other guy who we know isn't that damn good, and we don't have enough money to build a team around that guy because we're paying $50 million to another quarterback who's not even playing. Sit that guy on the bench. We'll end up getting close to the number 1 overall pick, or at least in the top 5.
Yeah.
We'll be that bad, and then they don't have to worry about the lack of return on an Aaron Rodgers trade, which he's right, that could put everybody's job in jeopardy.
Yeah.
If you're Gutekunst and you screw this up as a GM and they go, man, that was a terrible trade, and Aaron Rodgers goes on to make the Jets a Super Bowl contender, the court of public opinion is probably going to call your job into question.
Yep. Unbelievable.
That's just the way it happens.
Yeah,
That's-
I mean,
that's the
if you're
business,
talking
though,
about
right?
what a second and a third round pick next year.
Yeah, they right now Charles Robinson of Yahoo Sports is reporting. He said that previously the Jets have turned their 2024 offer into basically a conditional offer. So at first, what he is saying, and he said this on the Pat McAfee show at one time too. He's saying that when Aaron Rodgers went on the Pat McAfee show, that basically Woody Johnson changed his offer as a result of him going on the Pat McAfee show when he admitted that he was close to retirement. Basically, that freaked out Woody Johnson You start thinking, this dude could retire at any time. Like, if he comes here and he doesn't like the way we do business, or I say the wrong thing to him, we know he's really temperamental, all right, fragile, and he could decide, you know what, I don't like the situation I'm in. You guys are going to try to contractually obligate me to play, things like that. I'm just going to retire. I'm done. And then leave them SOL. So here's what Charles Robinson said. He said, it's a ridiculous standstill, depending on what your vantage point is right now. He said, the Packers are holding out for what they want right now, and that's a problem, I think, with the Jets, and more specifically with the Jets ownership. So where it is, Green Bay is stuck on an asking price of 2 second-round picks this year, all right, a straight shot 1 first-round pick next year. So 2 first-round picks, all right, this year, and a first-round pick next year. So no graduation schedule attached to it. And they would be, he says, willing to do it to the 2025. And he says some sort of draft asset give back. For some reason, Aaron Rodgers doesn't play in 2024. So if he retires, they would get draft compensation. Like, make it conditional of some sort. That's basically what he's saying. He said, and the Jets and Woody Johnson specifically are just not going to do it. He said they're not going to do it. If he's going to, essentially be threatening retirement, they're not going to do it. He says, and I guess if we're going to do the whole thing, whose court is the ball in? I guess it's in the Jets' court, but the problem is that the Jets is still at a standstill for them. They're saying, no, we're going to do the straight shot 1, just 1 first-round pick. That's it. No extra draft capital. He said, and I think what Woody Johnson's problem is that he looks at Denver and all the assets Denver gave up for Russell Wilson. Now Seattle is sitting on Denver's pick at number 5 because that crashed and burned. He said, I think some of it's the Matt Stafford thing, and now he has a bulky elbow, and now Detroit is sitting at 6. That sort of had trade parameters worked out, and then when Aaron went on the Pat McAfee show and said, I'm 90% retired, or I was 90% retired, he said, I think that's when Woody decided, he wanted to have some fail-safes, like basically.
And why are you trading for this guy?
Exactly.
Hey, man, we want the best of both worlds. Can you go ahead and give us this all-pro MVP quarterback? We don't want to pay you anything for him. And if he retires, we want you to give us some back for taking him on.
Exactly.
We want to give absolutely nothing up, and we want you to take all the loss for this. And why won't this get done? I don't know why it won't get done. I just keep asking for free things and nothing happens.
Yep.
Now you're definitely right. He wants it both ways. It's like you want the superstar Hall of Fame caliber quarterback, but you don't want his diva attachments.
Yeah.
You don't want his diva attitude. You don't want the fact that he's right now using retirement as kind of a leverage play every time he negotiates with the team. That's the reality of having.
And how, if you're an NFL
player.
scout, did you not know that Aaron Rodgers has been 90% retired for 3 seasons? Like, that should have already been in your notebook. Hey, this guy is a foot out the door always.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had that MVP season after they drafted Jordan Love, but honestly, I think that was just him being motivated by them drafting Jordan Love. I think he's such, unfortunately, kind of an egomaniac and a narcissist that he just wanted to show them he still had it. And that was his motivation. He's like, oh, y'all think I'm done? Y'all think I'm best? Y'all drafted this guy behind me?
Yeah.
Man, wait till I show
bum.
Exactly. Wait till I show everybody I'm not done. And I think that really did motivate him to the nth degree. I mean, talk about motivational currency. I mean, he spent a ton of it that year and proved that, he still had it.
Yeah.
So now he just needs motivation, and this may be the motivation because a lot of people now are saying that he's done, and they don't, they like Harge. They're done with this diva. They don't like the drama, and this is not worth it. A lot of people are on that side of things. You might get Aaron Rodgers motivated. Aaron Rodgers motivated is scary. It is scary, especially with a lot of talent around him.
Well, it's a new team.
Harge ain't having it.
Well, because he's going to be out of his comfort zone. He's going to be in a place, if he ends up going to New York and people are already doubting him, and these are young wide receivers, very young. Garrett Wilson, unbelievable talent. Young. Breece Hall, young running back. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at this squad. The only person that got experience and can deal with him is Allen Lazard because he was with him. Everybody else is going to be new, and it's just going to be, man, I don't like the way this is happening. I guess that's the biggest way to look at it for me.
I know my thing is, so how is this less stressful than just going after Lamar Jackson and just
exactly
do not get it.
Exactly.
Hey man, I don't want to. Hey, he's going to retire. We don't want to. we don't want to trade for a guy if he's not going to be here for 2 or 3 years. Hey, we got to pay Lamar Jackson for 3 or 4 years. Oh, that's too much.
He might not play all 17 games, so we're not going to play him. It's like,
I think the big one with Aaron Rodgers and the Jets is if Robert Saleh and Aaron Rodgers can sit down and just be best friends, or if they are diametrically opposed at some point and become enemies just because Robert Saleh is too straight line for Aaron Rodgers. And I don't know, but you don't know because Robert Saleh seems like a pretty chill guy that can have a conversation with him. But he might also be like no, I wake up at 5:30 every morning and make my bed. And Aaron Rodgers is like, I don't even use sheets.
No,
I don't even use sheets.
I don't know if you guys watch Ted Lasso. The texter makes a great point, and I've been watching Ted Lasso, and it fits perfectly. If you watch Ted Lasso, you'll get the Aaron Rodgers comparison. He says Aaron Rodgers, or she says Aaron Rodgers is Zava from Ted Lasso. Well done.
Yep.
It is. And you got to go watch the latest season to get it. I won't even try to break it down for you, but well done. Yes, basically, you're going to get this very temperamental, petulant at times, diva of a quarterback, and it comes with the future Hall of Fame play that you're going to get. And to me, it's supposed to be worth it. You got to weigh. It's like the hot to crazy ratio with women. They always say a woman is just as hot as she is crazy. And anytime the crazier, all right, she's crazier than she is hot, the crazy goes past the hot, then you need to re-examine. But if she's just as crazy as she is hot, just as hot as she is crazy, then you're good. Just as long as she's not crazier than she is hot. That's when you're in trouble. Aaron Rodgers is right there on the precipice. And I think right now, most people consider him to be crazier than he is hot. All right? And that's like Halle Berry is like that. Like Jennifer Aniston's like that. We're like, oh, man, she's kind of crazy. It's like, yeah, but she's really hot,
Yeah,
though.
I'm going to take my chances.
You got to deal with the crazy. Yeah.
But you won't deal with that with Mila Kunis.
No, no, she ain't that hot to me, so I don't need to deal with that kind of diva. But But when you're saying Aaron Rodgers, he ain't that hot to you.
Not at all.
You're like, no, man, he's crazier than he's hot, so I'm done. I still think he's just as hot as he is crazy. He's right there. He hasn't crossed the Vicky Mendoza diagonal. Not just yet.
Nope.
But
Just let him
he's
be.
close.
Yeah,
he's right there.
He's teetering.
I guess he's right there on the cusp of it. Of you're like, nah, this ain't worth it.
He's teetering.
Okay, we got a special guest coming up.
We do. We have Rob Parker of FS1 and the Odd Couple, and of course MLB Bro to come on and talk a little bit of NBA playoffs, and of course MLB Bro and talk a little bit about the MLB. Excuse me.
All of that and more right here coming up next on Bar Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn.
I am Dirty Mike and the boys, and that's why I'm in here chilling today. Welcome back to the New Theme Thursday edition of Ball Don't Lie. It's your boy Hardball Harge. You can follow me on Twitter at Hardball Harge, and you can follow my man Rod Babers at Rod Babers. And, of course, you can follow the man behind the glass at It's Patrick Davis. We also love it when you're a part of the show. Hit us up on the Specs text line, 512-337-3776. And joining us right now on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline, you can hear him on the radio all over the place. You can follow him on Twitter at Rob Parker FS1. He is the great Rob Parker. Rob, how you doing, bro?
Yo, Mike, guys, how you guys doing?
We're good. We're good.
Nice to have you on, bro.
Glad to have you on with us today, man. We got a lot to get into. It is playoff basketball. We'll talk a little bit about MLB, bro, in just a little bit, but I want to talk about the basketball playoffs out there in California. I know it's been a lot of conversation about your man LeBron James, and I call him your man because I know you like to pick on him a little bit. But now that the playoffs are here, what are your expectations for the Lake Show out there?
I don't have big expectations. The end of the season, they played a lot of bad teams. They won games. They struggled big time to win the home game against the Timberwolves. They were fortunate to win that game. Timberwolves were down a couple of guys. Towns was in foul trouble, and they needed overtime to win it. It's scary. In the playoffs, you want to win and move on. But I'll have to believe it to see it. I think they're going to have their hands full with Memphis. And when it comes to Lakers, they got to have to show me that they got something together and those guys can stay healthy and those guys can beat some of the teams in the West. I'm not as convinced as a lot of people are.
Hey, Rob, I've heard you and Chris Broussard, and by the way, you guys do a great job, having the MVP conversation, man. It's one of the most heated MVP campaigns that we've seen in a long time. Who do you have for your MVP in the NBA season this season?
Joel Embiid would get my vote. Not probably. He would get my vote. I'm not convinced he's going to win because of the analytics and the writers, younger writers who take more stock into the analytical numbers. And I think, Jokic's analytics are better than Embiid. And if those writers want to stick to their guns and continue to use analytics as their measuring stick, I think that there's a chance that the Joker could win 3 in a row based off of that. His numbers were better than they were last year when he won the MVP. He leads in every analytical category. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out because if it's about analytics, then the Joker's going to win. But if it's about basketball and eye test mixed in with some analytics, then I think Joel Embiid should win.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the Joel Embiid fan club because I think what he's brought to the Philadelphia 76ers and over the last few years, you can see his numbers getting better and better. I always call it the Michael Jordan, LeBron James effect, and I know that a lot of people don't want to put LeBron James and Michael Jordan in the same conversation, but at one point you could actually vote those guys MVP every single year, but a lot of people don't want to look at it that way. And that's why it's interesting when you say with the analytical numbers and how the young voters are always using those numbers, it looks like it could go right back to the Joker.
Yeah, because in order for them to be relevant and, hold on to what they believe in, if you say that the Joker's numbers, analytical numbers, were better than a year ago and he doesn't get the MVP and you don't vote for him, then going forward, what sense does it make that you're going to buy into the analytics? Right. Do you see? So it's a catch-22. It really is because if they abandon that, they can't go back to that next year or the year after. Which one is it? Are those numbers more important than the eye test and other numbers? And I think that's where the problem comes in. I've seen this before, and there was a time when Miguel Cabrera had Triple Crown numbers in the American League, and they were talking about the analytical writers, baseball writers, were talking about the MVP to Mike Trout, the American League MVP. And it didn't happen that people did still value a Triple Crown and Miguel Cabrera won it. We saw it last year. Some people thought Shohei Ohtani's the MVP every year, right? He pitches and he hits.
Yep.
So nobody can be better than that. And guess what happened? They overwhelmingly voted for Aaron Judge as MVP because there was context. The Angels were out of the season in May. The Yankees played meaningful games all year round. Judge had to perform all year round in order for the Yankees to win, and he overwhelmingly won. So it's going to be an interesting vote just to see how it turns out.
Rob Parker joining us right now on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline. Rob Parker, FS1 in the Twitterverse. Hey, Rob, are we going to see you on this new Freaknik documentary, man? Are you going to be spotted on there somewhere?
Well, when in those days, I still had a ski mask on, so you won't see me, but I was there.
You were still rocking the ski mask?
I was rocking a ski mask back then. I was thinking that I might run for president one day, you know?
Hey, you were smart then.
Hey,
now
you were
can't get
forward
canceled.
thinking.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
right. You were forward thinking. And I want to stay with the I can't even follow that up right
I
there.
should have waited to the end to ask that, but I had to get it in. Sorry, Rob.
Because everybody's worried about being on that
Exactly.
Freaknik documentary. Hey, Rob, I wanted to ask you this, too, before we get into baseball. I wanted to talk a little bit about Mike Brown and what he's been able to do with the Sacramento Kings. I mean, it's been an amazing run for these guys. They're in the playoffs for the first time. Mike Brown, his story is kind of interesting because everybody thought that his rise was because of LeBron James, and now he's found a way, got a good squad together, and it looks like he's going to be the coach of the year. Talk about what you see with the Sacramento Kings, and do they have a legit chance of being able to push it in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think he's done a tremendous job, and everybody discounts what's happened all year. They don't want to buy into the Kings because of their history, but their history has nothing to do with this group of players that have played and performed all year long. If the Golden State Warriors play stinky on the road like they have for most of the year, the Sacramento Kings have a chance to beat them because they have more home games. And the Warriors, I get their pedigree, I get what they did and what they did last year, and they won a championship, and that's all good and well. But if they don't play well like they have in the past in the postseason, they can wind up getting beat because their road record, except for near the end of the year, was abysmal for a team of that talent. That had something to do with other stuff, not basketball, because the same players had a tremendous home record. So there was something else going on. So I'm not saying the Kings are going to upset them, but I'm saying people shouldn't totally discount the Kings because they don't have any experience. It's the first time since the Louisiana Purchase was in escrow that they made the playoffs. So, no, it's been a long time.
That is spot on. You are 100% correct about that. I'm looking forward to this team getting a chance to play and having a lot of fun as well. I'm also looking at the Phoenix Suns and seeing if they're going to be able to push it. It looks like a lot of energy is coming out of the West. But I wanted to ask you about baseball and MLB Bro. Go to MLBBro.com. Not only, a lot of people don't understand, too, not only are you great with your commentary, you're also a great writer, and that's how you got into the game, and you love the game of baseball. So you decided to start MLB Bro. You've partnered with Major League Baseball. You've had your own segment. I saw your segment today as well. So talk about MLB Bro and the mission of MLB Bro.
Yeah, it was a dream come true. I started it in 2021, 2 seasons ago, and my dream was to put up a site that would celebrate and cover black and brown players from the United States and the accomplishments currently and in the past. It's like 75% of the website, which is videos and stories, is about the black players today. The other 25% is about players in the past, great players and their contributions. And Major League Baseball monitored the site for the last 2 years, and this year they stepped up with the idea of partnering. So our content, some of our content is now on MLB.com, MLB Network, and on their social media platforms. I mean, to give us even higher exposure. And it was definitely like a dream come true that they saw my vision and they wanted to, help to uplift it and put it out there more. The best part of the partnership with MLB is that they're also in the business of helping to develop the next generation of black baseball writers and content creators. That is, I have a staff of 60 young people who love baseball, and that's my biggest mission, is to help to develop these new writers and content creators and broadcasters. And baseball is going to help us do that with some internships and whatnot. And that's what I love the most about the inclusion of Major League Baseball, is that we want to develop more. So we want to celebrate the black player, cover the black player, but also develop these young writers and broadcasters and during the process. So if you get a chance, please take a look at the site. It's a great looking site, great stuff on there. MLBBro.com, and our slogan is MLB Bro, 'cause you need to know.
For sure.
I like that. Hey, and Rob, I just want to ask you because, obviously getting more young African-American players is just obviously being more attractive to younger viewers, right, to a younger demographic. The rule changes that they have implemented this season, which I think have been successful, it's hugely successful. They're going to go a long way, I think, in attracting younger demographics and younger viewers. Could that be something that just ends up overall helping the cause of bringing young African Americans to the game?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, base stealing is back in vogue. MLB bros are running wild on the base pass, so that's pretty cool. And then about 30 minutes shorter with the pitch clock. I wasn't sure about that. I'm a traditional guy, but the game hasn't changed the way I view it. I love that, the bases are bigger so that, less injuries and also better stealing bases. And then the shift, there's more action on the base paths because you can't put everybody on one side of the field and take away hits from guys. Now they got to kind of play standard positions, and the field's open for more action on the bases. I don't want to see a game that's only strikeouts or home runs. And I do want to say one other thing on baseball, and there's a kid who just made it up with the St. Louis Cardinals. And
Walker.
Jordan Walker, I'm sorry. And Jordan Walker.
Yep.
And he's hit in his first 12 games.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the significance of Jordan Walker. It's not just a kid, a black kid who broke through and is having a great start to his major league career. This guy is 6'6", 245 pounds, 20 years old. These are the guys that Major League Baseball has been losing to the NFL for years. Mm-hmm. And he's a breakthrough player to me that's like a movement. LaTroy Hawkins, who pitched in the big leagues for like 21 years, he compared Jordan Walker to Dave Winfield. And I think it's significant because Dave Winfield, if you remember, when he was drafted by 4 professional leagues,
mm-hmm.
the ABA, the NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball. He picked Major League Baseball. He had a 20-year Hall of Fame career, and Jordan Walker could be that next guy, and other players of his size and that look like him could look at Jordan Walker and say, hey, there's another path into pro sports, and it's back to baseball. I think he's a movement. Remember what I told you about Jordan Walker and his significance.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And I remember when you and I were talking when you were getting ready to start MLB Bro, and I actually got part of the first merchandise that was out there. So I still rock that merchandise every chance I get. But I agree with you about Jordan Walker. I think he's been one of the guys that's not only been a surprise, but if you've been paying attention to baseball, you know how talented he is. I was just glad to see that he made the opening day roster, where a lot of these guys would have to wait a couple weeks before they bring them up to the big leagues because they didn't want to start their clock too early. But that guy was wearing out the baseball in spring training, and I was glad to see that he got to the big leagues and has been able to do exactly what he's been put on this earth to do, and that's to hit a baseball and hit it hard.
Man, he is so fun to watch. Yesterday, for his 12th game in a row with a hit, he got it in his last at bat. He was 0 for 3 and then came through. And if you saw the bench and his teammates, I mean, what a great story and what a great start for him in baseball. 12 straight. It hasn't been done since when? 1912 or something like that?
Yep, exactly. So it's been really, really impressive, and I'm definitely all tuned in. And I'm also checking out MLBBro.com, covering black and brown major leaguers. What'd you say? What is your slogan?
MLB Bro, because you need to know.
Man, Rod, I appreciate it. We appreciate you jumping on. I know you're busy. You and Chris, like my man Rod said, you and Chris Broussard do a great, great job covering every sport, and y'all's banter back and forth makes me chuckle every single night. So we appreciate it, brother, and thank you for taking the time to join us today.
No, thank you guys. I appreciate it. And Mike, I got to say, I really appreciate the support for MLB Bro. And you were on it on Front Street day one. And I appreciate that. It means a lot. And we've come a long way and got way much more to do. So I appreciate you. Thank you, Mike.
No problem. Keep up the great work. Be safe out there.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Rob Parker.
Yeah, no doubt.
He's actually really, really great on air too. I've listened to Rob Parker and Chris Broussard several times, but also a great writer too. He's a writer long before he got into
this
sports radio and being an analyst on television too.
And he might have even covered you because he started in Detroit. He was in Detroit.
Actually,
I think he might have been covering you with the Lions.
I don't know if he would have covered me because I didn't play enough to be covered. But yeah, he might. Our paths might have
definitely
crossed
might
around
have
the same time.
That's right.
All right, good stuff there from Harge. Open up the contact list once again for Harge Knock Life. We come back. We got Off the Record right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. We know Austin is a beautiful city, thanks in no small part to the skilled craftsmanship of Ironworkers Local Union 482. They've been helping shape Greater Austin since 1935, and as the city continues to grow and thrive, so does Ironworkers Local Union 482. They don't go to the office, they build it. You see the labors of their love all over this great city and iconic landmarks like DKR Stadium and the Pennybacker Bridge. And right now, the Ironworkers Local 482, they're offering you a chance to become a member of this great organization. You can accept the challenge of becoming the best version of yourself while helping shape Austin's economic development. Ironworkers Local Union 482 are hiring 3,000 people. That's right, 3,000 people right now for a huge project. So become a member of Ironworkers Local Union 482 and take pride in the type of teamwork and craftsmanship that helps shape the future of this great city. So maximize your potential and be your best self today by applying at ironworkers482.org. If you're frustrated with your work choices and you want to change in your career path, right now is a great time for you to do it, and ironworkers482.org is a great place for you to do it. Check it out today, ironworkers482.org. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. We don't have a ton of time here because we went over with Rob Parker, and that was well worth it. So thanks to my man Harge for getting Rob Parker on the show. That was really, really cool. Getting a lot of good response on it on the Specs text line as well. And also everybody who sent pictures of dogs and stuff, because the theme of the day is Lose Found Day, our unofficial mascot on the show, which is Patrick's dog. So appreciate you guys, too. I mean, I always love seeing somebody's dogs. Dogs always put me in a good mood. And even though Harge won't like it, you can send your cats in, too. All right? We don't want to discriminate on this show just because Harge hates all cats. You won't want to discriminate. We know a lot of y'all out there got cats, and it's all good. KD was a cat guy.
KD was a cat guy. That's right.
KD loved some cats. That's when I stopped discriminating against cats. It was one of my best.
Was that the one that you had to go and try to help?
One of my better friends in the world was a cat guy, and I was like, you know what? I gotta change my. It's like when if you can be like, you could say you say you're a racist, but then one of your kids marries somebody of a different color, and you go, you know what? My grandkid's gonna end up being biracial, so I guess I can't be as racist.
You gotta put a governor on it.
You gotta back that off a little bit. You know what I mean? That's the best. Honestly, the best way for us to overcome racism is to just date other races. You learn more about another race when you date someone of that race than you'll ever learn in some textbook or something like that.
I like the way you think, man.
Oh man, I was like the Rainbow Coalition out there.
I was trying to say
all types of ladies out
right.
there. They're like Jesse Jackson. Well, he wasn't dating a lot of women. He was the mastermind behind the Rainbow Coalition. Either way, I don't know how I got there from dogs.
He was rainbowing.
Yeah. Okay, how about this real quick, because I know we're up against it. This is good news for Major League Baseball. So we know now the average duration of the game has been shortened by 30 minutes, actually. On average by 30 minutes. So now they're close to 2.5 hours on average for every 9-inning game so far this season, which is remarkable. But the Kim Kardashian, Nicki Minaj, Serena Williams size, Cardi B size, Megan Thee Stallion size, but it has a negative effect. It's had a negative effect on alcohol sales.
Yep.
So a lot of teams, making sure they put that dollar bill, y'all, first, they have decided to basically change their rules. And now CNN, the Rangers actually told CNN before the 2020 season, the team allowed some alcohol sales through the 8th inning, but have made it widely available this year. And along with other teams now, Arizona Diamondbacks, the Rangers, Minnesota Twins, and other teams are following this example, and they have extended beer sales now through the 8th inning. When it used to be, a 7th inning thing?
Mm-hmm. It used to stop in the 7th inning.
Now it's going to the 8th inning. I think every team is going to follow this example.
Well, it's funny that you say that because a pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies, Matt Strahm, said he strongly disagrees with the fact of extending sales past the 7th inning.
Wow.
And the reason why he's saying this is because now you are trying to – the rule was basically we stopped doing it because you wanted people to kind of sober up before they would make that drive home. Now you're extending it, and now that window of opportunity for them that they think is okay is not okay. Yeah. So he's saying, this is what he was saying. He says, so now with the faster pace of the game, if the game gets finished much quicker, we should not move the beer sales back to the 6th inning so people will have time to drive home safely, right? So instead of making it to the 8th, why not making it done in the 6th because the game is getting over faster?
All right, so let's start with this and logically. That's not how drinking and driving works.
Understood.
That you don't sober up in 2 innings of baseball, no matter how long they are. If you had 8 beers, 2 innings ain't going to make it safe for you to drive. It's just a reality. So that was never really the reason. They may have said that. The reason they stopped it was because if you had a full beer in the 9th inning and your team lost, you were going to throw it on the field. And so they wanted less drunk people when they're trying to escort them out. What's the worst time to be at a bar? Last
After
call.
2 o'clock, that's right.
Last call. When they say last call, people go nuts. So you try to end that in games because you're like, we got 20,000 people here, 15,000 people,
get more beer.
And if we let them at the very end, there's gonna be lines of people chugging beers trying to leave the place, and then we got to stop everybody because trying to sneak beers out to the parking lot. Like there's all the other reasons you cannot drink 8 beers and sober up in 2 innings. that is a fallacy, and if you think you can, stop doing that. You're drinking and driving.
Right.
And honestly, the truth is, you shouldn't be abusing alcohol like that.
In
either
2.5
way.
hours, you should be having 2 to 3 beers at the game.
Yes,
enjoy
there
the
you go.
game, and then you'll be fine
And a
either
nice
way.
buzz.
If you would normally drink that much and you're right volume and everything else,
Get a nice buzz. You shouldn't be trying to get hammered at the game.
Or take a DD and go for the record.
Go for the record.
How about ride shares?
Well, I don't like a ride share at a game because the traffic gets harder to get a ride share and they cost a lot more. But that's just because I'm cheap, so I don't want to do it.
Yeah,
but I'm
it's
saying
cheaper
I get
than a DUI.
No, but that's why I hang out with sober.
Everything is cheaper.
But Rob,
I deal with that heartache and stress.
that's why I still hang out with sober friends.
There you go. That's also
Because
good.
they're like, man, I stopped drinking. You're like, cool, I didn't. You drive.
Actually, that's really good. Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I'll buy dinner tonight, and you drive. Well, I'll buy the park. I'll buy tickets and game. You drive. We'll have a good time.
Yeah. Major League Baseball games now. They said the loss in revenue from the beer sales, it translates to a loss of around $1.1 million in lost beer sales throughout the season, depending on the stadium. So yeah, that $1 million, they probably want to make that up.
Now that being said, if more people show up at games, then they will make that money back.
Yep.
I agree with that 100%. Yeah, I'm with you. I like what they've done, but the beer sale thing, yeah, I agree with Patrick. Just don't abuse the alcohol either way. I don't know if extra 2 innings of sober, right, a big sober is going to help you at that point. All right, we'll come back. We'll get into spring football news, notes, and Nuggets expectations and predictions. All of that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. New theme Thursday, and the theme for today is actually about the dogs. Specifically, one dog. We're celebrating all dogs. Lou, it was his found day. Lou is our unofficial mascot. He is the dog. The owner is Patrick, and Patrick decides to celebrate Lou's found day by making him the focus of New Theme Thursday. So there you go. That's why all the songs are dog-related and songs with dog in the title. And Atomic Dog might be the famous of all the dogs.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Nothing but the dog catcher.
Dog, bow,
yippee-yo, yippee-yay, bow, wow, yippee-yo, yippee-yay.
You know who loves this song?
Me?
No, but kids love this song.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Because
little
it's about
kids,
the dog.
Because it is. It almost feels like a song that would be on like a Sesame Street or like some kid program, some child program. But it's not. I mean, people love that damn song.
My
and
favorite
Horace
part
loves
is,
it too.
oh, yeah, it goes, Huckleberry Hound.
Oh, there you go. Actually, National Dog Day was like last week or
National
something.
Pet Day, I think.
National Pet Day was
Yes.
last week. There you go. All right. So
Ain't nobody post no picture with no cat, though. I tell
Hey,
you
man,
that,
if
man.
you have cats, you can post a picture on the Specs Test out with your cat or your dog. We'll celebrate that too. I have a neighbor that actually has his cat on a leash outside at times.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
That got a problem.
Oh.
I knew that cat likes to roam, I guess.
No, you're supposed to let a cat roam. Let a
Yeah.
cat-
No,
Hey,
obviously not if it's on a leash.
I swear the cat's on a leash. I have a picture of it, actually, because I had to take a picture of it to send to people when it's like, man, I have a neighbor that keeps it. I hope the neighbor's not listening.
Yeah, he
'Cause
is.
It ain't many.
Or she.
It ain't many people that keep their cat on a leash. It's got to be one per neighborhood. And mine lives pretty close to me. Keeps a cat on a leash. But hey, man, each his own. You don't want to lose your cat.
No
That's
doubt.
your companion. You got to love that. I actually dated a crazy cat lady. But she was hot. It was before
See,
she
you
became a
always
crazy
find
cat
an
lady.
exception, right?
No, I swear. Like, this is when I first came back to school after I was done in the league. I met this little hottie, and I didn't know she was a crazy cat lady. I met this little hottie out, and then went back to her place. She had 3 cats inside the house and 4 cats that lived outside the house. They were basically like her outside cats. So a total of 7 cats. And she was
How fast did you run?
late 20s. Something like that.
You got out of there quick, right?
It was a deal breaker. I mean, we had some fun, but then no.
I was gonna say,
I couldn't take her seriously. You were already a crazy cat lady before I met you. You're in your 20s.
Yeah.
That's a crazy cat
All right,
lady.
Rod, are you blocking this out? What was the smell?
It wasn't great.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
No, I'm just saying, because even if you want to be like, she's the cleanest cat lady there is.
I didn't know before I went over. She didn't talk. She said she had a cat. She had 7 cats. It came up in conversation. 1 cat came up, but she didn't go into detail about the cats.
No.
3 were in the house, and she was feeding 4 outside.
Now you got to say that stuff. Are you liable for murder and asthma attacks and stuff?
She misrepresented herself, I think, a little bit, and thought I'd be cool with it. She was fine, but
That's like
you
the
weren't
girl
that
now
fine.
on her Tinder pic. You're like, oh, she got a cat, and then you're scrolling through your pics like, they're all different cats. You're like, yes, 8
No.
pictures, 8 different cats. I
And
don't.
They all had names. I was like, oh no, you named them all. Them your cats.
See,
Yeah.
that was gonna be my question to
No, she
you.
named
Is
them all.
like when you realized that this person was a cat lady
Crazy
in
cat
her
lady.
20s.
Mm-hmm. It was already happening.
My biggest question was, you must not have ever had allergies.
No, I don't have allergies really bad. I don't.
That was
Even right
amazing.
now, I don't. Yeah,
That's
I don't have them.
amazing.
That's actually one of God's gifts to me. I do not have allergies. I don't have to deal with that. Yeah, some
No.
people.
I could also tell you what else. You smoked at the time. Because that's the only reason you couldn't smell that house.
Yes.
Because you lose your sense of smell when you smoke. I did
Sure.
know just because
I was
at
a
the
smoker.
time, a lot of cat people smoke. You can't tell how bad it smells when cats pee around the entire house. smells like cat litter and cat piss the entire place.
Okay. All right. Now you hate that.
Look, I don't dislike cats.
Yeah.
I'm just saying 2
I don't
is
like
a
the
lot of
smell.
cats. 2 is a lot of cats to keep
Hey,
the smell down.
like I said-
and once you get over 2, the smell is going to get exponentially worse.
That's true. It's odorous. Yes,
It is odorous.
Yes,
It is
Hey,
odorous.
listen, I don't know what she's doing with her life now. I hope she's happy. Hope she found a crazy cat man. All right, they got a house full of cats everywhere.
Yep.
But
Hey,
like I
got
said,
Katie's
7,
number still?
She was like 28.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
was
she
she
like
dating Katie?
Yeah, 20. No, she was like 28. She was. I said she was sexy though. Trust me. I said, but remember our conversation, crazy to hot ratio. Basically, she was really, really hot. And even for like a week, I was debating, man, is she crazier than she is hot? Because she does have 7
Speaking
cats
of.
at 20-some years old. And then I decided, yep, she's crazier than she is hot. She has crossed the Vicky Mendoza diagonal. And at that point, you cannot deal with her once you deal with the hot to crazy ratio in nature.
She
So-
puts
You
some
mean
mayonnaise.
this one right here?
Yes, exactly.
She puts some mayonnaise in her coffee like Will Levis, and you're like, I got to go.
There you go. You know what I mean? Who knows? Right now, she might, maybe got rid of some of those cats, and maybe she's now down to 2 cats. I have no idea. Anyway, let's talk Texas spring football, gentlemen. Let's get into this, and we'll continue this conversation, obviously, in Roger Rant of the day. But what are you most looking forward to? What are your expectations? What are you most looking forward to when it comes to the spring game? What's the first thing you're going to be looking for?
The young players. The young players.
Be specific.
Well, the young wide receiving group. I
Okay.
want to see what a Jonte Cook looks like when he comes out there. I want to see what DeAndre Moore looks like. I want to see what Quinn actually looks like. But, everybody wants to talk about Arch Manning and the excitement of him. Malik Murphy, he's going to be on the field right after Quinn. So those are the players. But I definitely want to see the young wide receivers and, of course, Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's Quinn.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to just be so obvious.
I mean,
and I wish I could give you, something a little bit more intriguing because I
No
think everybody's
reason.
going to be looking at it. But it's about Quinn Ewers to me and how he looks and how comfortable he is. This offense, the ceiling of this offense really is the ceiling of Quinn Ewers this season. And it really will track with his development because I've been doing some numbers. I'm not saying that the running game, and I'll probably get into this deep in Roger around the day. I'm not saying the running game is going to be, bereft of explosivity. But I do think there is going to be a regression in the run game. And I don't know if it's going to be a drastic one, but there is going to be a regression in the running game. It may not even be noticeable depending on how prolific the passing game is, which is where your strengths are. So what I would like in this spring game is to be able to identify, you know what they call them in movies? They call them Easter eggs in movies, like little Easter eggs. Basically, because you're not going to see a ton. Sark doesn't want to reveal a lot in the spring game, and we get it because he doesn't want to give the future opponents too much to try to game plan for. So I get that. But I still should be able to pick up on slight little small clues and hints, little Easter eggs, as to what the offensive identity of Texas is going to be next year. Just little tiny ones, because I know what to look for. Not everybody can see it. Trust me, and I'll come on the air, and then I'll break it down for you on the air, what I saw and what I observed. But I would like to be able to identify a couple of and I think the offensive identity, honestly, is going to start around, it's going to be built around the passing game. That's where all your weapons are.
Yep.
JT Sanders, X-Man, Jay Witt, Quinn Ewers, all of your left tackle, by the way. He can do it all, but he's a left tackle, so he's there primarily to protect, all right, your quarterback. All those pieces, which are elite pieces, by the way, and all of them project to be some of the top players at their positions in college football this season, and you need them all performing at a high level. To me, that is where the identity of the offense is really going to be.
Yeah.
Last year, it was puts a Bijan on it with a side of Rojo. Made perfect sense. This year, I don't know if that's going to be it.
Right. That's a good way of looking at it, and we have been talking about this for a while. When you replace those two types of players, it is definitely going to be different. We saw the fact that he hid a lot. Those two hid a lot of things. So why are we not spending more time on the conversation about the offensive line? You know what I'm saying? Because this is going to be a big growth spurt for them as well. Those bookends we know are there, but what's going to happen on the guards and the center? Who is going to take that next step? Are you really ready to go that next level on that offensive line?
Right.
I think that is huge because we just talked about it. They broke a lot of tackles. Now can we create some lanes for these other running backs where they can get to the next level by not having to break that many tackles?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I might as well get into it now. We can continue talking and Rod around the day, but just doing the research that I've done just about how elite and unique Bijan Robinson and Rojo were in terms of breaking tackles in the running game, turning nothing into something. They did it a lot. And so here's a couple of numbers that I found. So if you look at yards per carry on perfectly blocked runs, these are all numbers from Pro Football Focus, Sports Information Solutions, and Football Insights. So I just kind of piecemealed everything together. So if you're looking at yards per carry on perfectly blocked runs, Bijan's at 9 yards per carry on a perfectly blocked run. All right, everything ideally blocked. Everybody hit their assignments. Every gap accounted for. Every defender accounted for. Hat on a hat. So 9 yards per carry. By the way, that's not even close to being the best number in the country. Zach Evans was at 9.5 on perfectly blocked runs. Devin Achane, 10.5 yards per carry on perfectly blocked runs. Tajay Spears, 11.7 yards per carry on perfectly blocked runs. Kendre Miller was at 12 yards per carry on perfectly blocked runs. You get it. Rojo's at 7.6, by the way. But on yards per carry on runs that were not perfectly blocked, so missed assignments, all right, missed blocks, blown assignments, Bijan Robinson's at 5 yards per carry on yards per carry on runs that were not perfectly blocked, where there were missed assignments. So you're still getting 5 yards per carry out of that dude then. Hell, Rojo's at 4.6 yards per carry on runs that were not perfectly blocked. The only guys that were ahead of Bijan Robinson there were Tajay Spears at 5.2. That's it. He was the best in the country on runs, on, I guess, yards per carry on runs that were not blocked. Yeah, that guy's special, actually. He's pretty nice. Based on all the deep dive, the analytics love that dude. Yep. Only 5, and we can get deeper into this too. But if you go Pro Football Focus run blocking grades, in 2022, so we take the 2022 group of running backs and those who are in the 2023 draft class, Bijan has basically Pro Football Focus grades. He has run behind a Pro Football Focus grade for Texas offensive line with a 58 this year, and it was at 73 and a 76 O-line grade total last year. 2021 and 2022. In 2020. So in 2022, the O-line actually regressed, and their Pro Football Focus grade was worse than it was in 2020 and in 2021. Which means Bijan and Rojo's job was much harder in 2022 based on Pro Football Focus grades because they were not getting adequate blocking up front. They were actually making more plays on their own, just running backs breaking tackles, than the offensive line was providing holes, or opening up holes, I should say. The only running backs in the class who had offensive lines that were worse based on Pro Football Focus grades in 2022 were Keaton Mitchell, Zach Evans, and Tank Bixby. Jahmyr Gibbs actually had worse offensive lines that he ran behind at Georgia Tech, but at Alabama, obviously that was different.
I was going to say that changed a lot, didn't it?
And by the way, you go look at percentage of design runs with a blown assignment in 2022. Texas is second in the Big 12 with percentage of design rushes with a blown blocking assignment. Actually, TCU was first. So it doesn't always translate to you, but being an inept offense. And that's with Kelvin Banks only having a 0.7% blown blocking assignment rate, which is the best in the Big 12. So that's 4 of your 5 offensive linemen that are accounting for that because Kelvin Banks is in a league of his own.
Yep.
Texas led the country in yards after contact as a team. Oh, sorry, I take it back. They were second behind LSU. LSU was first at 3.69. Texas was second in yards after contact as a team, 3.66. Over the last 4 years, if you look at running backs, the highest missed tackles forced per attempt, Bijan is second in the last 4 years. Rojo is fifth. First is Antonio Gibson. Third was Javonte Williams. Fourth was Dwayne McBride. So what these numbers are essentially telling you, go look, and Rojo, by the way, was better at Bijan in breaking tackles.
Yeah.
Rojo had the highest forced missed tackle rate in the country in college football the last 2 years. He was at 45% broken tackle rate. He actually averaged 4.28 yards after contact per carry. Bijan was at 4.17. Giving you all these numbers, Bijan, 5.8 yards per rush versus stacked boxes, where you had more defenders than blockers. Rojo, 57% of his rushes versus an 8-man box resulted in a first down or a touchdown. What I'm trying to say is, and these numbers back it up, those guys were elite at breaking tackles. I'm talking about
ridiculous.
Like the last 10 years, they would still be in the elite class of runners in regards to how they break tackles and how often they do it, with what frequency they do it. And I just throw your numbers too, based on Pro Football Focus numbers and some of Sports Info Solutions numbers. When you took those guys away and just considered the offensive line grades, Texas offensive line in terms of run blocking grades were not good. They were below average, subpar. So you take running backs who have elite yards after contact ability and tackle breaking ability with a subpar offensive line in run blocking. And that's what you had last year when you took those two entities away, Bijan and Rojo, in the bowl game. What did Texas end up rushing for?
Nothing.
Like less than 3 yards per carry?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. That's our starting point.
That's why I was saying about the offensive line.
That's the starting point.
It's like, okay, now let's see if with these more mature linemen what they're capable of doing because of the numbers that you just gave us and how Texas running game was discovered. Now it's like, okay, what else can we do to get better? So that's your starting point, to your point.
Your run blocking or lack thereof was exposed in that Washington game without Bijan and Rojo. So essentially now we got to see the running game without the training wheels of Bijan and Rojo, which means the run game will need a schematic, tactical, and strategic advantage. Often probably philosophical too, but you're going to need that advantage, and you can only do that through creativity and innovation. And for some reason, Sark did not get in his bag in that bowl game versus Washington. There was not a lot of creativity and innovation. We know Sark has it. We know Sark can do it.
Yes, we do.
But when he allows Coach Steven to call the game instead of Sark, then we get the very lackluster, bland run game plan that we got versus Washington. You cannot allow that to happen this next season coming up without Bijan and Rojo. Expect for your run game to regress unless you infuse it with tons of creativity and innovation. And I know he's got it. He's got to get in his bag this offseason.
He has to get in his bag this offseason.
No matter how good C.J. Baxter is, no matter how good Jonathan Brooks is, I think those guys are going to be great. I think those guys will probably play in the NFL one day. They are not even close and will not be anything close to what Bijan and Rojo were last year. Not anytime soon.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Because of what we heard yesterday during the pivot and, of course, what he said with Jeff and Light the Tower crew, Jeff and Craig. Do you feel that this might be the best version? Are we expecting the best version of Sark? Because he feels more comfortable with his quarterback. He obviously feels comfortable with his wide receiver room. And he's leaning more towards the throwing aspect of the game because he said that himself. He said maybe we have to throw a little bit more than what we ran. But he did say, I've always had a 1,000-yard rusher. So we can look at him and say, okay, this is going to be your biggest challenge, wouldn't you think? Because of the youth and inexperience in the running back room, for him to achieve that, the offensive line has to be up to par.
No, I mean, I don't necessarily think so. I mean, you're going to play 13 games. I mean, if you got a guy you consider a bell cow, and we can divide up the numbers, but I can divide up. But yeah, I mean, that's what 70-some yards. I mean, I'm saying it's not necessarily you got to be a workhorse bell cow to get that. So it's 1,000-yard. I know his 1,000-yard milestone is important to him. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with having that as a goal. But for me, I think we should. I would focus on more what the identity of the offense is, and the identity should be what you do as well, if not better than everybody else. What can you hang your hat on? And we know, I don't think it's going to be the running game. I think last year was going to be the running game. This year, I think it actually is going to be the passing game. Now, the conundrum for you is if it's going to be the passing game, you cannot allow your quarterback to regress. You must keep your quarterback comfortable and confident. Constantly. Sorry to be using all these C words.
No, that's good.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Sorry for all the alliteration, but you got to keep it that way. If you allowed him to start to regress and then start to panic, and then he becomes insecure as a quarterback, then we saw what we saw last year from him, and then you're not going to have Bijan and Rojo to lean on and go, all right, you know what? Put some Bijan on it with a side of Rojo.
Yeah, I can't do that, right?
It's the cure-all for every day. I'm thinking that ills our offense or our team. And it was. Yeah. You don't have it this year. You don't have it. So you're going to have to figure out a way to pull this offense out of a slump or in the slump, or if you have an insecure quarterback who's not in the rhythm, to get him in the rhythm. And most of that is, in my opinion, quick game. I think you start with the quick game. You don't chase the deep ball. I always say it's like chasing waterfalls. TLC told us, don't go chasing waterfalls. Please stick to the rivers, all right, and the lakes that you're used to. So the rivers and the lakes, that's your short game, that's your quick game, and that's your intermediate game. Stick there, all right, because you got enough weapons, in my opinion, schematically, formationally, to stress teams with all of those weapons. I think it'll open up the run game. What you had last year was everybody basically built their entire defensive game plan to stop Bijan and Rojo. You had to.
Right.
You're an idiot not to, because those guys were the marquee featured pieces of Sark's offense last year. This year, it's not going to be the running game. So I don't even know if you're going to see the loaded boxes like you did last year early on. I would honestly, I'm dropping my safeties back early on. I'm doubling X-Man, doubling JT Sanders to start the season.
Quick game, quick game, quick game. There you go.
So, I wonder.
And if you're playing back, then you will be able to run the ball.
Exactly.
Yep, you will get those numbers that you have been talking about.
I think you'll get some of that naturally in the running game because I think teams will be adjusting to stopping your strength, which I think is going to be the passing game.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at it.
I like it.
And, okay, so coming up, we'll talk more about the spring game, predictions, expectations, what we're looking for on offense and on defense. And there is one player that I cannot wait to see at the spring game. We may not see him a lot. As a matter of fact, we may not need to see him at all. But it'd be really interesting to see what different ideas that Sark's throwing around on how to utilize and weaponize certain players. We'll talk about that when we come back right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn.
Mike Harge here, and I want to talk to you about my friends over at Allstat Beer. Allstat is true German beer made with 100% true German ingredients. It's brewed right in the Texas Hill Country, right up the road in Fredericksburg, Texas, at the Allstat Brewery off of 290. Make sure you go out there because the brewery is so beautiful. They're making award-winning German-style beers. The Allstat Lager was awarded a gold for the second time. They have amazing fine dining restaurant and a tap room where you can try multiple flavors. Plan a tour today and see for yourself. Enjoy some great beer with some great food, and of course, take some great friends out there with you. And the weekend is upon you, so why not go out there and listen to some live music? Plan a trip today. Go to allstatbeer.com, find a local watering hole where you can enjoy some or where you can pick some up on your way home. Regardless of what you think, make Allstat your beer of choice. Allstat beer is made with 100% true German ingredients. That means German hops, German malts, and, of course, German yeast, and that natural hill country water. Allstat beer, no impurities, no regrets.
All right, what's up? Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Time for Raj Round today. I want to continue our conversation about Texas football. There are a couple of players that I really am excited to see. And offensively, I think it starts with a player that's probably been the most talked about player on offense, actually, outside the quarterbacks, and that's Savion Red. I want to see Savion Red. The pictures of Savion Red, it looks like he's bulked up. All the reports are that Savion Red, that he's got some power so that he's a true running back. Even though he's switching from wide receiver to running back, that he's actually got some running back power. And we know he's got some quicks. He's got some twitchiness, if you will, when he gets on the perimeter because he did play wide receiver. And even though Sark will not say the term, he won't say the words, even though he seems to be building his roster, constructing his roster to emphasize this philosophy, and even some of the moves. The Savion Red move, in my opinion, probably most notably, is a move that says positionless football, and it does seem to hint that he is embracing some kind of positionless football. And you guys know I've been saying on this show for the last, probably not more than 5 years, the future of football is positionless football. It's going to take everybody else a while to catch on. And my man Shano is probably he majors in it better than anybody in the NFL offensively. Defensively, I told you, Dan Quinn majors in it better than anybody in the NFL defensively. And Sark has had both of them at his coaching clinics to speak. So I know he's on to this. It's staring him in the face. It's like the new theme Thursday was lose. It was lose found day, and Harge and I couldn't figure it out for an hour, and it's like we've been talking about it all day. It's lose. It's lose found day. I feel like positionless football is staring Sark in the face, and he's got several pieces that can help him kind of see this vision come to fruition and materialize on the field. And Savion Red is a big part of it. Now, I wasn't sure if Savion Red, the move to put him at running back instead of wide receiver was to push him off the roster to make room, or was indeed him embracing some form of positionless football. I think it may be the latter. He won't say the term. If he ever says it, I'm going to let you guys know.
I was going to say, you're going to bring it up.
He won't say it. But I'm telling you, if he starts moving around Jay Witt, now, like I said, you're not going to see this in the spring game. All right, but like I said, this gets back to my rant about I want to see Savion Red. Now, will he move Savion Red around? Could we see some funky stuff with Savion Red in the slot, in the backfield, then motion to the slot, or start him off in the slot, or start him off out wide, motion him back into the backfield? Could we see some of that? Oh, we definitely could. That's not really showing your hand. That's just using some of the basic cheat codes and concepts that Sark likes to use. So I could see that. But if he starts moving around Jay Witt, last year I think I saw Jay Witt in the backfield one time. One time he put it in the backfield. Now he put X-Man in the backfield too one time.
He tried to trick us though with it.
He did. Now that's a form. That's a form of positionless football. Just making your positions a little bit more interchangeable. The fluidity, all right, of being able to move different guys around in different positions. But he's got multiple players, whether it be Savion Red now or it be Keelan Robinson, who's also kind of a hybrid player for him. We talked about Jay Witt for years. We've been waiting to see Jay Witt used as a hybrid player. Remember, Tom Herman famously recruited him as the H. Remember the H position? Remember the H position where you had Devin Duvernay playing the H, Jake Smith was recruited to play the H, and Jay Witt. Tom Herman was way ahead of his time with positionless football. The problem was he would never implement it. You know what the H stood for? Hybrid. I'm not joking. It actually stood for hybrid. And Devin Duvernay and Jordan Whittington and Jake Smith, they all played this position that was called a hybrid position, and yet he would never hybridize.
I was going to say, they were just out there to be a decoy, basically.
Right? And it's like, so what are we doing? Well, why you don't name him a hybrid and never hybridize the guy? So I think for Sark, you might see some of these players hybridize conceptually, and I do want to see if maybe there are some Easter eggs, some clues, some hints to him doing that in the spring game. And Savion Red obviously will be a big part of that. And also another guy who you can use in a positionless manner would be JT Sanders. Talked about this yesterday, man, and I don't know how much you're going to see of JT Sanders. Honestly, you don't need to see JT Sanders. You don't need to see him at all. You might see him for a series if they bring it out like a real game. But he's got a chance to be special this year. And honestly, if I'm Sark, and no BS here, I know Sark's not going to do it, but early on, I would build my passing game around JT Sanders instead of X-Man. And that's not saying you're going to, that's not saying you're going to use left or target X-Man fewer times, or you're going to give him the ball less or feature him less. Not saying that at all. I'm just saying in terms of the early passing game plan, your scripted plays early on. Remember how adamant Sark would be and how intentional he was, deliberate he was about getting the ball to X-Man within those scripted plays early on. I mean, it was obvious. He's force-feeding the football to X-Man. And teams do that too. And obviously they would roll coverage, double X-Man, and they would try to take him away as much as possible. And we know, obviously, with the hurt hand and everything, that kind of blew up in Texas' face. I say early on in your scripted plays, man, you need to start featuring J.T. Sanders. The truth is, J.T. Sanders is more likely to end up with a matchup advantage most of the time than X-Men. I mean, you're more likely to end up with a matchup advantage with him on a safety or a linebacker that can't cover him more so than X-Men, who have a lot of times the top corner is going to take X-Men if they can move him around and shadow him, and they'll roll a safety over the top of him. It's just going to be easier to feature and to scheme open J.T. Sanders than X-Men. We know this. Go look at the NFL. Everybody wonders why Travis Kelce's always so wide open. Travis Kelce's always so wide open because it's impossible to take him away because there's so many different places to hide him within the structure of the offense. You can put him in the slot. You can flex him. You can put him out wide. You can put him in the backfield. You can put him as an H-back. You can turn him into a fullback. You can make him an inline tight end. Doesn't matter. Wherever you're weak, I can put Kelce there.
Right.
That's what you can do with J.T. Sanders. Wherever they're weak, and they're going to be weak in multiple spots, just find it and put J.T. Sanders there. And once they adjust, they'll leave themselves vulnerable and exposed elsewhere. And that's why, to me, I start the game plan, at least the passing game plan early on, with getting J.T. Sanders involved. Because when they try to take him away with that safety over the top, they're going to leave X-Man and Jay Witt, Jonte Cook alone, Isaiah Nayor alone on the outside, trying to double-team that guy inside. And let's say they double-team him and they want to take away X-Man. Great, because you know what that means? You got numbers. There are only 11 guys, so you can only double-team 2 guys at a time. So you double-teaming 2, that means we got 3 guys that's in one-on-one coverage. We'll take that. Matter of fact, they're in 0 coverage. Take away one-on-one. They're in 0 coverage. We'll take that all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. So I think this will lead to J.T. Sanders probably having the greatest season of tight ends ever had at the University of Texas if Sark decides to feature him in that way. Now, and the tight end position has been an endangered species on the Fort Acres for a long time. So most Longhorn fans, they go back to 2004. Like 2004 to 2007 when they saw an offense not only feature a tight end, but be able to weaponize a tight end within that offense. You just hadn't seen it in a long time. J.T. Sanders is the first one in a long time. It's been an endangered species on the 40 acres. It really has been. And I was actually reading a random article about endangered species a couple of weeks ago. It was about the gray wolf in Yellowstone Park. The gray wolf was eradicated in Yellowstone Park like in 1920s and 30s. They, via conservation act and some type of conservation legislation, they actually brought it back and reintroduced it into Yellowstone Park in like 1995. And a lot of these scientists, these different biologists, they have to figure out what they call the cascading effect. Essentially, whenever a species is removed or disappears or is reintroduced into an ecosystem, they try to figure out how it was incomplete or inadequate and what the effects are, what the butterfly effect, the ripple effect is of that species now being introduced or taken away from that ecosystem. And they were talking about the gray wolf, and it was fascinating. So basically, without wolves, the coyotes kind of took over Yellowstone Park, and so did the elk. And the elk population exploded. And they started overgrazing on like these willows. Willow patches are really important, willows and aspens, because without those willows and aspens, the beavers, that's what they use to build a lot of their dams. Mm-hmm. And the dams actually are homes to a lot of songbirds and a lot of other different types of species depend on these beavers building their dams. And those dams actually work to create shade that cools off the water. So the water temperatures were rising too much, which was killing some of the life inside the different water, like the entities, like the rivers and the lakes. It was killing a lot of the animals because in the rivers, the water temperature was actually rising. crazy stuff. Like it just basically all of the different ecosystems were all interconnected and very complex. They didn't understand this for a really long time. And then they figured it out like, oh man, wolves are important because not only do they kill the elk, they force the elk to graze, so the elk don't just stay in one place and eat on all the willows, and then basically all the carcasses that the wolves left out. They found out that basically there were entire ecosystems that lived off the carcasses, just scavengers. Right. Whether it be ravens, eagles, wolverines, beetles, and different scavengers. So it was fascinating. Anyway, way too boring, and I'm sorry I spent way too much time on it. My point is, if J.T. Sanders is indeed the endangered species that I've been speaking about at the tight end position for Texas, then just like that wolf is interconnected with all the other species in its ecosystem, and they all are benefiting, and there is this kind of, the symbiosis taking place in that ecosystem, the same thing is true for the tight end position. It is interconnected with all the other positions on the 40 acres. And you could argue it affects the pass pro, Texas not having a really good tight end. It affects their run game blocking. It affects the link between the pro philosophy and your spread ideologies. It's also the easiest position to weaponize in terms of positionless football. If you're going to recruit other tight ends, this is kind of where the stall happened too. You're not going to recruit great tight ends until you get a good tight end. A good tight end's not going to want to go to your school unless you already got a good tight end there as an example of how they can be utilized. So that's also something that was hurting Texas in kind of this cycle of tight end recruiting. Either way, now you've broken that cycle. You got your 5-2 tight end. It is no longer an endangered species on the 40 acres. And J.T. Sanders has a chance to be the greatest tight end in the history of Texas football. And also, he can be a doorway into positionless football for Sark as well.
And it's definitely something that everybody's going to be looking at, because that's why when people were talking about Deuce Robinson, he was the kid that ended up, I think he's going to go ahead and I think he committed to USC, but he was another guy that was a big, long, tall tight end that was looking at J.T. Sanders as somebody that he can implement. That he can emulate. He could be that exact same guy, but now you got to try to find some other guys to fill in that void because he was the one that they were looking at. So I agree with you about the tight end position.
Oh, man. I can't wait to see how Sark uses this. Remember, Sark said out of his mouth the second most important position in his offense behind quarterback was tight end.
Wasn't made up. We didn't just come in.
He said that.
Yeah.
Your word, Sark. So hopefully J.T. Sanders can do for the Texas offense what the Gray Wolf did for the Yellowstone ecosystem.
There you go.
Bring it back to life. Make it vibrant again.
I don't know if you want to be around them gray wolves.
I don't know if I'll be around that, but that article was fascinating, though. It really was. Anyway, we'll come back. We'll get into a little bit off the record right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Oh, man, it is a new theme Thursday. That's the win. My man Patrick plays jams that lead us to the new theme of the day based on the clues and hints that we gather from those selections. And today, it's all about the dogs. We need more dogs. Hey, we should
Not
play
no
that
cats. Not no cats.
one. We need to play that. We need to find that drop. We need more dogs. Have you ever heard that, Patrick?
What's that from?
There was a coach
Yes.
who was with
Coastal Carolina.
Damn, good job. Good memory.
Oh, yeah.
Good
Coastal
memory.
Carolina.
Yeah, I don't remember the coach's name. He actually coached for a long time,
Yeah,
like decades plus. And he went on a rant one day, and he went on a rant about how basically all of his players they're too vain. They're worried about how they look, right? They're basically too metrosexual for him. And he's like, man, I need some dogs. And honestly, I believe that's where this saying comes from. I mean, a lot of this saying, man, he got that dog in him.
Yeah.
It might be from this guy, this Coastal Carolina.
I'm going to send it to you right now, Patrick.
It might be from him because he's like, we need more dogs. And he tells a story about his dog named Bo.
Yeah.
And he's like, no,
And
it's
he's
a great
sitting on the
story.
porch. And he's sitting on the porch.
Oh, it's a great.
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
great.
You
it's
got
one-
it now. I'll just
it's one
send
of
it
the
to you.
all-time greatest rants in the history of sports.
Coach
And
Bennett is his name.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
And he's basically, it's an homage to dogs.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm tired of all these dudes acting like some cats.
They in there in the mirror, making sure
Yeah.
they things are their towels.
We need some
is
more
right.
dogs.
We need some more dogs.
Need some more dogs
We don't need no
around here.
cats.
No cats. And I don't even want dogs. I want some wolves out there. We need some wolves out there, man. Like Yellowstone. All right, there you go. No, we're going to play that because that is a great rant about need more dogs. Anyway, that's not what we were laughing about in the break. We can't tell you about what we were laughing about in the break because some of y'all don't got it. Yeah, some of y'all sense of humor is all
Man,
warped.
how did CB find it that quick?
As soon as you said it, he already
Come
sent
on,
it to
CB.
us.
It's too good.
He is
Doing
too-
my job for me.
Exactly. And you know he sent it earlier because it takes a while to go through.
Yeah.
Too good.
You just got it. I mean, CB sent it like 2 minutes ago while we were mid-conversation talking about it. It is a great rant, so we'll replay that rant for you. Have some fun on the other side. Yesterday, I don't know if you heard on your way out, you played your Charlie Strong cut.
I heard it. I
Hey.
started laughing right away because
Social
I was
media.
like, it's a downfall.
Downfall Society.
And I mean that. Remember that. Yeah. Remember that.
Oh, Charlie wasn't right about a lot. He's right about that.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick. We don't have a ton of time. How about this? Colt McCoy jumping into the broadcast booth. You guys see this story?
Yeah.
This is amazing.
This is great.
NBC is going to hire Colt McCoy as a USFL analyst.
Smart.
That is great. Good for Colt. I like that.
Good
Colt
practice
McCoy.
time right now.
Yeah, he's been diversifying his skill set. He's a business owner. Still owns some of the Dunkin' Donuts, I believe, right?
Yes, he does.
And now he's going to get into the broadcast booth. And I've talked to Colt a couple of times. Colt can turn on the charm whenever he wants to turn the charm. So turn it on, I'm sure. And he's still good looking. I haven't
Yes, he
seen him
is.
in a while. I'm
Yeah,
sure
he's still good.
He's still
He's
aging out. He's aging all right.
He's
Is he
aging
moisturizing?
well. Yeah.
He's
got good
He
conditioning.
ain't looking like an old leathered bag, old haggard bag.
When
or
you
something
got
like
that kind of money, you
You
make
look
sure
good,
you look good, man.
Yeah, no, he's been doing great. So congrats to Colt McCoy. He is going to be a USFL analyst. That news dropped
Love
earlier
it.
today. Yeah, I'm actually excited for him. Actually, I'm going to try to check that out. I haven't released like the schedule for him or anything like that, but I'll try to find that out and let all the folks know because I'm sure a lot of Longhorn fans will tune in to support Colt McCoy for everything that he's done. A legendary lifetime Longhorn. Okay. Let's get into we'll get back into the play-in game reviews, but also we'll get into some Texas basketball discussion. There is some breaking news we must discuss as it relates to Texas basketball. Not necessarily good news, but not bad news either. Maybe it's just news. We'll have that on the other side, right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn.
Mike Harch here, and I want to talk to you about Allstat Beer. Allstat is born in Fredericksburg, Texas, right in the heart of the Texas Hill Country. They have a beautiful state-of-the-art brewery. The brewery prides itself on their award-winning German-style beers. They also have an amazing fine dining restaurant and a tap room where you can try more flavors. Plan a tour today and see it for yourself. On the weekend, the brewery also has live music. So it's right now. Get yourself out there and enjoy some live music. Go to allstatbeer.com, find a local watering hole where you can enjoy some or where you can pick some up on your way home. Make Allstat your beer of choice. Allstat beer is made with 100% true German ingredients. That means German hops, malts, and yeast. And, of course, they throw in that natural hill country water. Allstat beer, no impurities, no regrets.
All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Who let the dogs out? That is the theme of the day. Actually, not who let the
It
dogs out.
seems like some people in my neighborhood left their dogs out because we got it on the camera that they running through the neighborhood.
What kind of dogs?
The ones that should never be let outside.
Like pits?
Yes.
Running around the neighborhood?
Yes.
Are you serious?
I just got a thing.
Like
It said
multiple? You say plural.
2 of them. Somebody said y'all need to get a better fence in y'all's area because if there's 2 dogs, because I live in a place where a lot of people walk around.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
It's a nice neighborhood.
Yeah. And
pits are, listen, I love me some pits. I grew up with pit bulls,
Yes.
so I'm not scared of pits. But
I'm not scared of them either, but other people are.
Other people are. Especially if we
Yeah.
have kids, people are
Yeah.
very afraid of how.
That's what I'm worried about.
The reputation
The
of
kids
pit
in our
bulls.
neighborhood, and we got a lot of kids in our neighborhood. We like our neighborhood because kids like to play in our neighborhood.
I walk around with basically a metal rod.
Yeah.
That I have
It's the
crafted
Rodcast.
myself.
It's
It
the
is kinda-
Rodcast.
but it's because I used to walk around with my 2 dogs. I got 2 Chocolate Labs, and I was in the neighborhood. I was attacked by a pit bull one time, just a loose pit bull. It ran out of some dude's garage. He's an idiot. He left his pit bull.
No, there are some
unleashed
people
in
in
the
our
garage.
neighborhood that are like, they're like, my dog's cool, and you're like, my dog's on a leash, and your dog isn't.
Yeah.
It's gonna get aggressive.
No, his dog ran across the street to the other side of the street to go attack my dog.
Ugh.
So that was before I started walking with the rod.
Yeah.
All right.
Now the rod's got the rod.
Now I got the rod. But it attacked our dog. We had just gotten Kaya from the shelter, and she ran off. It took us like 2 hours to catch her. She just ran a while and like literally broke away.
Yeah.
When at least she was so damn scared. And I had to save one dog. I had to save the old dog. We had a 14-year-old lab. I had to save her. I said, one dog's got to fend for yourself. And Kiki's got some pit in her.
Yeah.
And she's from H-Town. She's a Hurricane Harvey rescue. I was like, man, you're from the streets. You're a Harvey rescue. I got to pick a dog to care for and to protect. I picked the old one, and she just ran off. Fight or flight. She just left. She did not fight at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, now I carry a rod with me when I walk. I tell my wife to carry it, too. She doesn't. I was like, because you get attacked by a pit bull, you better have something to defend yourself with.
No doubt.
And I love pit bulls, by the way.
Hey, Kevin Hart did a bit the other day. He said, people come over to my house all the time, and they always ask me, does your dog bite? Because he's got a Doberman Pinscher.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, does your dog bite? He always goes, don't bite me. It don't bite me.
And
Does your
that's
dog
cool.
bite? Not me.
And that's cool if your dog is never getting out.
Right.
All right,
Exactly.
without supervision. If your dog's out without supervision, hopefully it's a nice dog.
I did find out about Baja Men who let the dogs out because it is fun when someone posted something that they thought that this was referring to women of who let the dogs out. I was like, who let the ugly women in the club? And I looked it up. I looked it up and I was like, that is not the case. The Baja Men have said this is a feminist anthem, and the dogs are men catcalling women.
Wow!
That is what the song is actually about.
Are you serious?
I like that.
The song is about, and if you hear it, it's like we're all having fun, and then some guys come in and say something, and the women say, who let the dogs out? So the dogs are Jerkmans. So that apparently is meant to be a feminist anthem, who let the dogs out.
This is why I love Patrick, because his musically
finds
themed
the
days of the week.
research.
I've never known that.
No, I did not
It
either.
broadened
And
my
you were
horizons.
just like, this came out. It was popular from the Rugrats movie, and it's a feminist anthem.
Yeah.
Craziness.
Hold up, in the Rugrats movie?
Yeah.
That's what this became popular because it was in that soundtrack.
It was in the
and all the
soundtrack.
kids loved it, and so
Wow.
it got really popular out of that.
Dogs, I mean, kids love these little dog songs.
Yeah,
Because
because they know what dogs. They know 14 words. Dog's one of them.
Yeah.
That is a great little factoid about it, man. It's a feminist anthem.
That is what they were when they wrote it. They
Yeah.
wrote it as a feminist anthem.
And I'm a feminist, so I appreciate that.
So now you can play Baja Men at the house.
I'm all
And
about
when your
it,
wife
man.
comes in, you just go, I don't know.
I love it.
Feminist anthem.
That is great. Wow. That is a Craig Way level factoid, Patrick. Good for you. That is some Craig Way level factoid rabbit holing right there, brother. Well done. All right, we will play, since we are talking about the dogs, and that is the new theme of New Theme Thursday, showing some love to Lou, the unofficial mascot of Ball Don't Lie. Today was his found day, so we're talking a lot about dogs. And we will play the Coach Bennett famous dog rant. I believe my man Patrick has pulled it hard, sent it to him.
Yeah.
Thanks, CB. We'll play it for you. I can't believe some people haven't heard it, but as the texter mentioned, it has been like 10 plus years.
Yep.
So I can see why Patrick, it might have just kind of or maybe Patrick heard it and didn't know he heard it, or maybe he just might have missed it because I think it was viral for like a week. Everybody was playing that damn thing. It is a great rant though, so we'll get to that coming up here at the end of this segment. But first, let's dive into Texas basketball news, gentlemen, because this one got a lot of Longhorn fans stressed out after they found out about a decommitment from a Longhorn prospect, and this was actually a Woj bomb. So, when it's a Woj bomb, it's an official. Adrian Wojnarowski reported today from ESPN that California high school guard A.J. Johnson, a projected 2024 NBA draft lottery pick, he told ESPN that he has decommitted from the Longhorns and signed a deal, I'm sure I'm going to screw up this name, Illawarra Hawks of the National Basketball League in Australia. I'm sure I messed it up. Thank you for the encouragement, though. I appreciate the support. He's a 6'6" senior at Southern California Academy, highest profile American prospect to leap to the NBL since LaMelo Ball, who played his 2019-20 season there and ended up being the number 3 overall pick in the NBA draft. Hard. So I've been seeing the Twitterverse, a lot of Longhorn fans voicing their displeasure, their disdain with this news. But when I heard from Chad and Zay, on Chad and Zay via Jeff Howe that $750,000
come on, man,
was the number that A.J. Johnson was offered to play in the NBL, well, straight cash, homie. Cream rules everything around me.
Dollar bill, y'all. Yeah. And the fact, too, I don't want to play school. Mm-hmm. So if I'm a one and done, and I know that's what I want to be, and I got an opportunity to go over there and make $700,000 to go get this money, of course I'm doing that. Nobody at the University of Texas is going to try to give a kid $700,000 for 1 year. And to Patrick's point of what he said earlier, he was probably going to play 10 to 15 minutes a game. We saw what Dylan Mitchell did this past year. If Dylan Mitchell really wanted to go overseas, he probably could have. I mean, there's been opportunities. It's about the decision for what you make for your family. And in this day and age, that is the world that we live in. It's bigger than just the game of basketball now. It's bigger than the game of football. It's bigger than the game of base. There's so many different things that are tugging at people, the information that is out there. And if you have this opportunity to go get that, oh, yeah. I totally understand why. It had zero to do with Coach Terry. It had zero to do with Coach Beard. Because in reality, if it had something to do with Coach Beard, why didn't the young man ask to get out of his letter of intent so he could possibly go somewhere else to get that kind of exposure? It's not like everything had to be because of, quote unquote, the Coach Terry hire.
Yeah, I mean, I think really what it came down to was that they offered enough money that it made sense for him to go do that.
Absolutely.
So when he agreed to go to Texas, I'm sure there was talks of what the money could be.
Yep.
Because, it's not like, we're not going to give it to you because we don't know what other players we're getting. We don't know. So we can't guarantee you any money in NIL. And so he was given, hey, man, NIL, this is what some of our other players make. You can make up to that. And then he goes to... And then he gets a contract offer because technically he's not supposed to get any offers for NIL until he shows up to UT.
Canceled. That's right.
Yeah, you can't guarantee any.
So he can't guarantee any of that until he gets here.
He's a student athlete.
And then the other people say, "Here's a guarantee for $750,000." He goes,
for
"Cool."
1 year.
I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go to school anyway. And the main reason now for a college player to pick school over one of those, if you're not going to be a top 3 pick or something, and we really can get that huge NIL money, is you want to start building your brand for Nike or Adidas or Puma or whatever it is. You want to start building your brands for Gatorade or whatever other. You want to start building that in college because your college fan base is going to help you get that deal when you go to the next level. That the pro team will go, all right, now we have this market and your college town market. And so if a player, Dylan Mitchell goes in the draft and go, okay, Dylan, you played at Texas, so we can hit the Texas market because you played in Texas, and then wherever team drafts you, we can hit that market. We're going to help build your brand. So it is still an investment, but it is a brand investment for those guys that are going to be one and dones. You'll see less and less of it as time goes on, but some of the big names are still always going to go to college because they don't want to leave the country, and they don't want to go in the G League Ignite either and not necessarily and playing smaller buildings than you're going to be playing at in college basketball.
No, it's a great point, and we talked about this earlier. You brought up the NIL too. You guys have to understand that all of these big time prospects now, the ones in the transfer portal and the ones who are coming out of high school, they all have dollar figures attached to them now, and they all come in with a number that you either have to meet or you got to beat to get their services. And a lot of these programs now at Texas and other schools, because they're in the NIL transfer portal era, they have to operate much like NFL teams do, NBA teams do, where they have a certain allotment of dollars to spend on NIL money and NIL opportunities through entities like the Texas One Fund. And when a guy like A.J. Johnson probably comes to coaches and goes, hey, man, $750,000, I need y'all to meet it or beat it. And
bye.
Yeah, and they got about, I don't know, $3 million or $3.5 million to work with the entire squad. They may go, yeah, actually, I don't know if he's worth the 750 G's. I don't know if we got it for one guy.
Right.
When Dylan DeSue, I'm sure, also's got a number.
Yeah.
Dylan DeSue's in right now. Is like, hey guys, I need y'all to meet this number if I'm coming back.
And
to
he
school.
got tape.
And he's got, so I'm saying like this.
And he got tape.
Every player's got those numbers. So
exactly.
It does work almost like, say you got a salary cap, but you do have a certain allotment of NIL dollars every program does have to spend. That's why the Texas One Fund needs your help, because they would like it to be a robust amount of money to spend in terms of NIL opportunities. But yeah, that's the new reality of the transfer portal era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, and we see it as we've seen some of these guys that have made quick decisions on where they are going to that there's been at least promises or, hey man, I get what were you making there?
Yep.
All right, we can do better than that. And we can one up you, but because they're already in the game, and so some of these transfers they go, man, I was already making this here. Texas is looking at a lot of guys that are coming from not necessarily as big of schools, so not the same NIL money. So a lot of these guys, it would be a boost just in general principle to go to UT because the money at UT will be more.
Oh, yeah.
On a base level than at a lot of the, like Oral Roberts, it will be higher than Oral Roberts.
Honestly, I know people don't want to look at it like this, but just like professional squads, listen, what you really want is the most bang for your buck.
Yep. Exactly.
So if I can get, it's just like the NFL, right? You got to pay for the productivity of a first-round pick. You pay, all right, for the privilege of drafting a guy that high, that top talent. What you really want is a guy in the 4th round, the 5th round, who got passed over, was a really good player that can make your roster because he's cheap. And the separation between him and that 1st or 2nd round guy is not. It's not the Grand Canyon sized gap.
No.
So honestly, you're gonna start seeing some of that on the low level. What Patrick kind of brought up was this player, player A and player B. There's not a huge separation between the two, but player A, the number attached to him, the NIL number attached to him is $500,000, and the number attached to player B is around $75,000. That's what he wants.
Yeah,
we can do that $75,000 guy, and the difference is negligible between the two. These are the types of decisions that are being made now. Y'all don't like it, but that's the real.
And it looks more and more like what Rodney Terry's looking at this year is you're going to try and spend money you're going to spend the bigger deals on probably trying to bring in freshmen because they don't know the market yet.
And bring DeSue back.
And bring DeSue back. And then you're looking at a lot of these transfers of let's go get guys with chips on their shoulder.
Yes.
And let's go get some guys because you want those dogs.
Something to prove.
And if I go out and I get Hunter Dickinson or I go out and get Caleb Love or somebody like that, who has already played on the best teams in the country and has done all this, and they just want more money or they want more playing time, whatever, I'm going to have a hard time coaching those guys to get the best out of them because they weren't winning on a team that was at our level or around our level. I don't know if they're going to be the right guy. They may be, but I go out and get another guy who can play at a really high level that just wasn't heavily recruited out of high school. Maybe he grew 4 or 5 inches.
Yep.
Since then, or maybe something got unlocked in one of the off seasons for him, and now he's a new aspect to his game. And
your system, you can unlock him because nobody else couldn't. Yeah,
and that's I think where Rodney Terry is looking at more of building a team that has that chip on the shoulder, which is a lot of what this Texas team this season was built on.
Yep.
I totally agree with that.
TexasOneFund.org, in case you were wondering. TexasOneFund.org. By the way, the spring game is presented to you by the TexasOneFund.org.
I don't know if Hart is doing spots for the Texas One Fund, but he might need to be doing spots for the Texas One Fund. But no, I mean, that's just the reality of it. I mean, and a lot of people don't like it. It makes them a little uneasy to talk about these dollar figures that are attached to players. But you are, if you're a coach constructing a roster in NIL transfer portal era, you're looking at ROI.
Yes.
Return on investment.
Right.
How much am I paying? Like, think about Texas football, right? Think about like all these guys in Texas football who reportedly may have been upped in NIL deals just to attract them to come here, things of that nature, and that stuff like that didn't pan out. The coaches have to rethink the allocation of those resources. Now, what's the tight end that came from Alabama?
I
forget his name now,
Juan
'cause
Davis, but the other
No,
one
that came from-
was
that came to Texas.
He didn't even get a chance to play.
He didn't even play.
And he ended up
Billingsley?
Yeah, Billingsley.
Thank you very much.
Jaleel
Jaleel Billingsley.
Jaleel.
Yeah, Jaleel Billingsley. That's a guy who I'm sure got some NIL money just to entice him to come from Alabama to Texas. And everybody thought, oh, in the Sark system, he knows the system, he's going to be great. And then it turns out NCAA issues, he couldn't even play because of the NCAA issues. And then after that, it was too late to acclimate him into the system.
Hall.
Yep.
Exactly. As I don't know how much he got, but let's assume he got a little something.
Well, a lot of it went to
coming from him?
Texas. A lot of it went to Texas because he had a lot of parking tickets.
That's why they were trying to get it back.
That's why they was trying to get it.
Exactly. So you got to think about return on investment with that.
Yep.
You that's basically a failure of an experiment.
Yep.
I'm sure that he got some money out of that. So you got to be thinking about how much money you're investing NIL-wise in these players and then what you're getting back in return for these players. This is the new era we're living in.
It's always funny to me when a lot of people always want to talk about how somebody else should spend their money. That's the thing.
Pocket watching.
Oh, my goodness. It's like, oh, man, I can't believe they got that much money for that kid. What do you mean? Why are you worried about what it is? Watch and see what happens.
Someone
And
just
everything-
spent $2-point-something million on a pair of shoes, and you worried about
Exactly.
giving their kids money.
Exactly. This is the thing that really just drives me nuts. Every time I hear stuff, I'm just like, man, we figure it out. And to your point, the ROI is the best way to try to deliver that.
You have to. That's how you got to look at it,
Yeah.
man. It's like, hey, what am I getting in exchange for whatever dollar figure you paid in NIL money, opportunities for that player? What do you get in return on the field and off the field? Those are the opportunities there. So anyway, shout out to the Texas One Fund, by the way. What's that? How do you get there?
TexasOneFund.org.
There you go.
TexasOneFund.org.
I'm sure Wills appreciates that. But I will say this about the Rodney Terry regime so far, and it's not Rodney Terry's fault at all because he just got the gig. Okay,
People think that he's been here forever, to like recruiting for the entire
as the
time.
interim guy, he was here for the season for the interim.
Yeah.
But as the full time guy, he really just became the full time head
Yeah.
coach. But I will say that the headlines since they've not, because there haven't been negative headlines, but they haven't been positive headlines.
Right.
So need some positive headlines.
Definitely need some
Right,
positive.
you
Hey,
had
Ron
the
Holland came
Arterio-
out. Ron Holland said he was coming back. He said, "I'm
That's
still
good.
excited."
That's
I'm
good.
going to give him.
What's that?
I'm going to give him that one.
That was
'cause
good. Yeah,
we
exactly.
I got to take the win when we get it on this one.
Exactly. 'Cause my point is that was a good headline, but there are way more negative headlines outweighing
Yes,
that.
there is.
Because now I'm hearing the Arterio Morris thing is that he's gone pretty much. And
No, I
it's-
mean he was. Yeah, I mean Dylan Mitchell's probably gone too. Both those of you read their statements that neither one of them seemed like they had any real intention for coming back. Arterio Morris is the one that's really, that one stings more because I really thought he could have come in the lineup this year and done some big things.
I agree with
and
that.
played a lot more minutes.
Agree with that.
For whatever reason, he's decided to move on. I don't know if it is NIL. I don't know if it's another coach that he has a system he wants to play with. I mean, we heard also the Rowan Brumbaugh. He goes back to Georgetown. A lot of the reports are he was really homesick, and Georgetown's by where he's from.
Yep.
And so a lot of the reports were this is really not much to do with Rodney Terry or anything else. He just went really far away from home, spent a year at Texas, and was like, I just want to go home.
Right.
And so he went to a school back closer to where he's from.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think a lot of this is Coach Terry's fault at all. But it is what it is. The headlines are the headlines.
The headlines are just
Arterio
that.
Morris entered the portal, Rowan Brumbaugh entered the portal, Tyrese Hunter declared for the draft along with Dylan Mitchell, A.J. Johnson decommitting to play in the NBL. Strength and conditioning coach John Riley, he's going to probably assume, the assumption is he's going to go back to his relationship with Chris Beard and probably link up with him there at Ole Miss. So, yeah, I agree. It's great to have the Ron Holland news that he's going to stick with Texas. These are not bad stories or negative stories, but they're not good stories. So I'm just saying that Longhorn fans want good headlines. They do. I've been
Quit
in this
being
business a
so
long
spoiled.
time. Longhorn fans, they want good headlines, and
Yep.
these are not good headlines.
And we all deserve them. We all deserve great headlines.
And you know what? I think Coach Terry will have some good headlines for
I think
y'all
he will
in the
too.
future.
I think we're waiting on one more that is not going to give the best. Because I think we're still waiting on the Dylan DeSue to try the draft process but maintain eligibility. I would assume that is going to happen.
If he comes back, that'd be huge.
But that's the thing is, I don't think we hear if he's coming back for a while because I feel like he's going to do the maintain eligibility too.
And he's going to combine testing and all that.
That would
kind
be
of
my
stuff.
guess. He may not. He may take away eligibility.
Well, if the NIL number is sweet enough, he would decide I'm skipping all of that. I don't need to go through all
he
that.
could. So we don't know any of that yet, and the fact that it hasn't happened yet makes you lean in one that he may lean one way or the other. But I figure that will come as the next announcement, and then it's where we have to start watching some of these other. Reese Dixon Waters is the only name that I think that we've really been linked to that has already
USC
picked. Yes, and he's
kid,
already picked another school.
Man of the
He
year.
went to San Diego State.
Man, San Diego State. Yeah, they on the
Hey,
road
they're
a
hot
little
right
bit.
now.
Yeah, they're hot right now. That makes sense. Texas is hot right now too.
Yeah,
Got
they
some
are.
momentum
They are.
going.
Yeah.
We'll see if Coach Terry can capitalize on some of that momentum. All right, we'll get into some more. Oh, speaking of Texas basketball, I wanted to get to this story before we get to the Coach Bennett dog rant, which always puts me in a good mood. And this may put you guys in a good mood as well. Okay, so have you heard of the basketball tournament? I'm sure Patrick has.
Yep. I've seen it before.
You've seen it before.
Oh, yeah.
I've watched pieces of it before.
You've watched the basketball tournament as well.
Ohio State normally has a really good team because they always have Jared Sullinger.
Okay.
And they always have, what's the point guard that they had? Was it Kraft? Aaron Kraft? He's a good little point guard too. So, yeah.
All right. Well, I've never actually watched it. I've heard of it before, but I've never got a chance to watch it. So it is it's a national basketball tournament for those who don't know. They call it TBT tournament, but the basketball tournament I think is actually what it stands for.
It does.
Right?
That's what it stands for. Yeah, the basketball tournament.
So it's a 64-team single elimination tournament. And I guess it's supposed to have kind of a March Madness feel to it. There's $1 million payout for the winning team. And I imagine that as long as you're not an NBA professional, I believe those are the stipulations. If you're not an NBA professional, you can put together a team.
Yep.
And some former Longhorns, lifetime Longhorns, better yet, they have put together a team. They call themselves Austin's Own. And it's a team of former Longhorns.
Love it.
You're going to have Andrew Jones on here, Curran Roach, Jordan Hamilton, Cam Ridley,
Big Dog,
Dexter Pittman, Mike Kabongo, Sterling Gibbs, Alexi Wangmini, and Clint Chapman.
Yep.
Are the Longhorns that are going to form the Longhorn alumni team, Austin's Own.
Some of them are still playing like overseas, which is good. Reason for you to have them because you don't want some of the old heads trying to go out there and get into a run against a lot of these younger teams as well.
Man, that's honestly, that's
I'm glad
pretty
to
cool.
see that there's some representation for
I'm
them.
checking it. I might try to check this out.
Yeah.
Let's see. I mean, hopefully they can advance in this tournament, but
it's for $1 million.
I bet there are some good teams though.
Yeah.
This
for
sounds
sure.
like there's some legit teams. I imagine other.
But some of them you don't really know, right? Like Northern Iowa had a team, Wichita State had a team, and they brought back a lot of their guys too. Ohio State, like I was saying, teams from Washington.
But I imagine like some of the guys from. Okay, so is the Ice Cube 3-on-3 still a thing?
Yeah. He still has his league. Yeah.
I wonder if like some of the because all those guys are like a lot of ex-players. I wonder if those guys will put together random teams, just ex-NBA players.
That's why
no
they
longer
playing
play.
3-on-3 and not 5-on-5.
Yeah, it's half
running
court.
down the court.
Not all of those guys are that old, but you're right. Most of them are
and it's
geriatric.
And there's also a point that a lot of those guys are already they've made more money in their career, so they're still playing. And they want to do it because they get endorsements and they get everything else and can make a little bit more money. But yeah, they're $1 million split for a bunch of work. Not necessarily great if you know you're not going to make it if you lose.
Yeah, that's true. I guess so. Yeah,
With a guaranteed paycheck.
Must be nice for $1 million split not to be a big deal for you. But you're right about those. That's guaranteed money. I'm an NFL guy, so I don't know about guaranteed money. I don't know. I've never experienced it before. Horace knows all about that guaranteed cash.
Little bit.
But yeah, this is pretty cool. I like this idea, but Horace is right. I imagine a lot of teams around the country have ex-alumni teams they put together.
Yeah.
So what would North Carolina or Duke's alumni team look like?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Might be pretty stout. Okay, let's get to this coach business. Since we're paying homage to dogs today because it is the new theme of New Theme Thursday because Lou was found on this day. So this is his found day. So we're celebrating all dogs, even though Lou is the unofficial mascot of the show. So it got us to talking about Coach Bennett's famous rant about his dog, Bo. And basically, the premise of the rant is you always want more dogs and fewer cats. So much like Harge, Coach Bennett, not a cat fan. Here is the famous Coach Bennett dog rant, if you haven't heard it, and it will make your day.
Trying to get our 2 boys ready to carry them to golf tournament before practice, right? Golf tournament. 12 cats live across the road. Our door's open. Screen's broke. We need to get a new screen door, but the screen's broke. So you can come in through the screen, but you can't get back out of it. I turn and look, there's a little kitty cat in our kitchen. So I said, what are you doing in here, little kitty cat? By that time, the cat turns, tries to get back out. That screen won't go that way. Cat starts going, meow, all crazy. And I told our players, we need more dogs. Bo's barking in the back. I have to go shut Bo up. Mel's like, what's going on? I said, there's a cat in the house. Cat in the house? I said, yeah, there's a cat in the house. So I told our players, I tried to let it out the front door. Meow, meow, the cat's still going crazy in there. And I told our players, you need to be more like a dog. We don't need a bunch of cats in here. Meow, looking in the mirror. Do I look good? I got my extra bands on. I got my other shoes on. Be a dog. We don't need no meows. We don't need no cats. We need.
Oh, well, that's great.
Yeah.
We need more
dogs.
We need more dogs. I
That's
like
right.
the cat noises make the rant.
Yeah, exactly. What's that noise in here? Bo's in the background. Gotta go shut down Bo.
That is a great rant. I love it. He's right about that too, man. Like you need more dogs. Don't be cat. This is not against cat people.
No.
People. He's just saying you don't be so vain. All right, don't be
Just
so.
go out there and get that work in, man.
Don't be so narcissistic. Metrosexual when you're trying to go on the football field. Go out there and take care of your business. I like that because I think Jim Harbaugh has a similar one. Here's is about he calls basically a house plant, difference between a house plant and a crop.
Yep.
And Jim Harbaugh says, don't be a house plant. He basically says if you're not making the team better or doing anything to make the team better, you're not really benefiting the team. That means you're a house plant. House plants need to be catered to. You got to put them in the sunlight. You got to fertilize it. A nice little cute house plant. He's like, if you're a house plant, you're not good for the team. But if you're a field crop, all you need is a little rain, a little bit of water here and there, and you're going to grow and flourish. So he's like, always be corn and never be a house plant.
I like
Same
that.
thing. It's very similar. All right.
You say be no dogs. We need more dogs.
Now, do we think? Because I don't know what year this rant came out. Is this the genesis of the saying "he got that dog in him"? Remember this thing went
I think
viral.
I think it was before that.
Yeah. I didn't hear a lot online before that. I ain't gonna lie to you. I did not hear it a lot, and I've been in this business a long time. He got that dog in him it has not become a normal part of our lexicon except in the last 5 to 6 years. There's no way we were saying it with regularity 15 years ago when I started in this business. We weren't saying it 10 years ago. I can tell you that right now. We weren't. So it just happened in the last 10 years. And that rant was famous. I mean, ESPN Sports Center, famous.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
It went around
That was
for
probably
weeks.
one of the greatest
And then
rants.
he's talking about the dog. And I'm just saying, so whatever. Y'all can say, like, oh, I was using that, but it wasn't famous back then. It was not a part of
We'll
our-
have to do some research and
Now
figure out if we can find
everybody's
it.
like, he got that dog in him. You see the memes everywhere, a little dog inside of a chest x-ray. He got that dog in him.
Yeah.
They talk about it on ESPN and Fox Sports.
I didn't want to
Everybody
see
says
nobody
it.
had a cat in there going.
So I'm just saying, it may be the genesis. I don't know if it's the first time somebody used it, but I think it might become popularized as a
Possibly.
pop culture term around
Possibly.
that time. He got that dog in him.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, we come back. We'll talk spring football, expectations, predictions, and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about my friends at Apple Leasing because they want to be your friends, too. As a matter of fact, you need more friends like Apple Leasing because they always have your best interest at heart, your best interest in mind. And that's what's the best thing about Apple Leasing. They've been doing business here in Austin for almost 40 years because they do it the right way. They put you as their top priority, and the customer satisfaction is all they're about. They have the ability to put you in any make or model vehicle that you want. It's that simple. The professionals at Apple Leasing can help you get the price you want, the payment you want on the car that you want. And all it takes is one phone call or one click on Apple Leasing's website, and you'll get a quote on any make or model vehicle that you want. They can even give you an estimate on the value of your trade-in right over the phone. Apple Leasing's simple, interest, easy lease allows you to have a lot more flexibility, which is going to give you more possibilities and options to help you find the vehicle that fits you best, but more importantly, the vehicle that fits your budget best. Inflation is through the roof. It's never been more expensive to buy a new car, buy a used car, buy anything for that matter. That's why leasing actually makes more sense than ever. You're only paying for the part of the car you're actually using. So call Apple Leasing today and let them see how much money they can save you. They get all the same discounts, all the same incentives that the dealers do, except my friends at Apple Leasing, they pass those savings right on to you, the customer, because they're all about you, the customer. So give them a call, 512-346-9977. That's 512-346-9977. Or visit appleleasing.com. That's appleleasing.com. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. New theme Thursday, and the new theme of today, it's all about Lou. All right, Lou is our unofficial mascot of the show, and he's also Patrick's dog. But this is his found day, so my man Patrick decided to devote the entire new theme to Lou. So new theme day is dogs and songs that have dogs in the title, or songs that relate to dogs.
Yeah.
And what's the name of the song?
This one is not relating to dogs, but this is Lou's theme song. It's actually what Lou is named after, because this song is Dirty White Boy. Which it took 4 baths to get Lou clean when I got him, so he was a dirty white boy. And this is Foreigner's singer is Lou Graham, so that is how he got the name Lou.
Love it, man.
Well done. That's
Bring
good.
it all the way full circle. That's right.
The dirty white boy.
From the day you got him to when you cleaned him up to where he is now,
Hey.
job well done, bro.
That is true. Big fan of Lou. My wife loves Lou too. Actually, she's a big Lou fan. If you want to go see Lou, you can go check it out at Twitter, at Patrick's Twitter account at It's Patrick Davis. He's got a little homage up there, a little collage homage for Lou, our unofficial mascot. All right, we don't have a ton of time here, and shout out to my man Chan, always coming with the positivity.
Always.
Appreciate that, Chan, man, and you also have a great evening. We appreciate the kind words here. Appreciate all you guys on the Specs text line, guys. And gals, by the way. We appreciate all you guys, man, and gals on the Specs text line, all your participation. All right, Harge, let's talk about the spring game a little bit more. Tomorrow, we'll be breaking down the spring game a ton. We'll go deep diving into the rabbit hole, if you will, about Texas football. And I got a ton of notes that I'm going to share. But also remember, we're going to be doing our pregame festivities on Bevo Boulevard starting at 11 a.m. Harge, myself, and E. Hogan will be out there till 12:45. And then at 1 o'clock, you'll have Craig Wade, the voice of Longhorns on the call, Roger Wallace, having a great time. Oh, also Will Matthews on the sideline.
That's right.
Forget about lifetime Longhorn Will Matthews on the sideline. All right, so Harge, let me kind of pick your brain real quick on the spring game.
Okay.
I think we talked about offense. You talked about the youngsters you want to see a little bit too.
I do want to see the youngsters.
Specifically on defense, because we talked a lot about the offense early in the show. What do you want to see from the defense?
I want to see Anthony Hill, how he's going to fill in that position for DeMarvion Overshown.
That's big.
I want to see what Gavin Holmes looks like as well. I want to see all the news that have been coming out about the players being able to understand what the expectations are, how they're going to present themselves. We talked about Byron Murphy and how he's been hard to block, him and Tavondre Sweat. We don't know how long those guys are going to play, but while they're in there, I want to see them become very disruptive. Those are some of the things that I want to see.
Yeah, I mean, Sark was asked last media availability about the 2 players who have been the most significant pass rushers in the spring. The 2 names that he brought up specifically, he didn't name anybody else.
Right.
All he said was Byron Murphy. Said he was basically unblockable in the interior, and he said Anthony Hill.
Anthony Hill.
The youngster, the freshman. And this is interesting because
who looks very mature to be a freshman.
Oh, of course he does, yes.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot. I remember the projections about Anthony Hill when he first came on as a 5-star linebacker. And there was some projection that said he ultimately, down the line projects as an edge rusher. That if he fills out that way, now he could fill out a different way depending on the strength and conditioning program, nutrition, all that kind of stuff. But if he grows a certain way and fills out a certain way, that he actually projects to be a better edge rusher than even a linebacker. And they said part of the evaluation of him as an edge rusher was he's a natural pass rusher. This has always been one of my beliefs, among my football theories, is that I think pass rushing is a natural ability. You can improve it like anything, but I think pass rushing is natural. All the pass rushers I know, they've been natural pass. They were great pass rushers when they were skinny and they were, when they were undersized. Brian Orakpo, he could rush the passer even when he was undersized. He used to put some bulk on him. Remember Jackson Jeffcoat?
Yep.
Jackson Jeffcoat, he
was a hooper.
Exactly. He couldn't play in the NFL because he didn't have the size.
Right.
But even in the NFL, he was getting sacks.
Yes.
In the league, he just couldn't play the run because he wasn't big enough. Went to the CFL and actually won, I think he won
two.
Championship. Yeah.
I think he won 2.
Yeah, he might be playing another season, honestly. But he was a natural pass rusher. All the pass rushers, most of them that I know, they're naturally God-gifted at it. And I wouldn't be surprised. Remember, DeMarvion Overshown last year was utilized a ton on the edge. As a matter of fact, I went and looked up. Oh, if I can't find the numbers, I went and looked up the amount of pressure, like the pressure rate of DeMarvion Overshown. It's 25% pressure rate. He was applying pressure 25% of the time when he rushed the passer. That is higher than almost all of the high-end linebacker prospects coming out this year in the draft. Because DeMarvin Overshown was a natural pass rusher.
He was a problem.
Whether you're talking about the bend, you're talking about getting low to the ground, the BGO, the ball get off, all those things. Some guys just have it naturally. I think he had that naturally, and I believe Anthony Hill also natural pass rusher. That's why he went from interior D lineman as being best pass rusher, which is also kind of rare, but it's good because you want that interior pressure out the gut. To go to a freshman linebacker, that's because he's watched the natural instincts of this kid as a pass rusher and went, well, he got it.
Makes it real easy for you to make that choice.
He got it.
Yeah. And he wearing 0, so
yeah,
I'm going to have to give me another Agent 0 shirt.
They might put him exactly where they put DeMarvin Overshown last year. Remember, Jalen Ford's in there, so they can just leave Jalen Ford like they did last year and then start rushing Anthony Hill. I wouldn't doubt that. So we'll come back and talk some more about that tomorrow, about some of the prospects and some of the players that we expect to see have great games in the spring game. All right, coming back, we'll let you know what's on tap right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. We're going to wrap this thing up and put it in the oven. Before we do, we'll let you know what's on tap. If you missed any part of any of the shows, please go to hornfm.com and you can catch up with them on the podcast page. Join Harj and myself. We're going to be out and about amongst the people tomorrow. We're going to be out at Ron Hoover RV and Marine Center in Georgetown from 3 to 6:15. They're going to be kicking off their spring extravaganza. All right, so come on out there and hang out with us. Matter of fact, you should hang out with them all weekend because the Spring Extravaganza will be Friday through Sunday, and you'll find the best deals ever on 200 RVs, boats, and mowers in stock there. So come on out to Ron Hoover RV and Marine Center in Georgetown tomorrow to join the Ball Don't Lie crew, myself and Harj. Visit the events calendar at hornfm.com for more details. All right, what's on tap for you, Harj?
I'm going to go home and just chill tonight, man.
Ooh, just chill. I like that. Yeah, no NBA tonight.
No NBA. Oh, you know what I am going to do? I'm going to watch Pflugerville Conley play in their soccer match. One of my son's best friends is on Pflugerville Conley, and they're playing to try to get a berth in the championship.
I like that. What you got on tap, Patrick?
Instant Serious, new night, Thursday night. So Longhorn Blitz at 7, Instant Serious at 8 tonight.
I like that. I'm going home. I'm going to watch this show Beef on Netflix. It's supposed to be pretty damn good. I'm going to go check that out at the crib. All right, tomorrow.
Is it about food?
No, it's not. It's about beef.
It's about beef.
Angst. All right, come back tomorrow, same place and time. But we'll be out amongst the people. Remember, the revolution I be telling us, talk about it right here on Ball Don't Lie. We love you guys. We mean that. Take care of yourselves, but more importantly, take care of each other. Peace.